city around the world, as well as beautifully manicured grounds offering some of the most unique vantage points to watch the stars of the Verizon IndyCar Series. And today, they come to see two Penske teammates battle it out from the front row. Also, to watch if a third Penske driver can maintain his points lead from further back on the grid than where he'd like to be. Or if a four-time runner-up here at Barber can finally reach the top step of the podium. Welcome to IndyCar Live, presented by Verizon, where we set the stage for today's 90-lap race. Whether it be the rolling green hills or the azaleas, there is no doubt why we call this the Augusta of motorsports. And yep, I'm right there, enjoying a little bit of sun on the hillside in preparation for today's fourth round of the Verizon IndyCar Series. Hi folks, Lee Diffie with you here trackside, excited to be going again. It's been a very busy time in the Verizon IndyCar Series. This is the fourth race meeting in a 5-weekend period, and if you like, it's kind of coming to the close of the opening stanza of the 2015 championship. It's important to carry some momentum into the month of May. Of course, the crown jewel of the series and the sport, the Indianapolis 500, not too far away. It's an event that is super special to Roger Penske and his organization. 15 wins after all. And speaking of the captain's team, Marty Snyder, they're carrying some real momentum at the moment.
Well, Lee, that's right. Once again, the Penske guys will be up front starting the race on the front row today. Will Power outside, Helio Castroneves inside. And I want to ask you first, as the pole sitter, do you have to treat turn one a little differently because it's your teammate on your outside? Well, certainly, you don't win a race on the first corner, so you got to go with some type of conservative, but in the end of the day, it's competition. So the green flag is out. You gotta go and never look back. All right, your teammate certainly has a lot of spunk lately, doesn't he? How do you treat turn one with a teammate on your outside?
Well, I think he's in better shape being there on the inside. I mean, you have to have a very good start to get him on the outside, but I just want to file in behind him and be second, and then obviously have a race after that. But last thing we want is trouble in the first corner. So yeah, it'll be fine. It's always different to what you think. You shouldn't plan. It'll be what it'll be. You clearly have a lot of points to make up after Long Beach last week. How do you talk yourself into not doing it in one race, though? Yeah, it's funny. I haven't even looked at the points. I don't know where I am. I don't know how many points I got, or I don't even know how far I am behind. So, and I don't care. It's just, we're here to race, and I'm here to try and win a race. All right, it's going to be fun to see how these Penske guys handle the front row. By the way, Lee, this is the 5th straight race dating back to last year. It's been an all Penske front row.
Pretty amazing, isn't it, Marty? They really do have some momentum. Well, the Verizon IndyCar Series arrives here in Alabama, some 2,000 miles traveled and 7 days after the 41st running of the famed Grand Prix of Long Beach. That event is always memorable, whether it be the history or the prestige of that remarkable event on the shores of the Pacific Ocean. But you know what? This year it's perhaps even more memorable because one of IndyCar's best in the history of the sport was finally rewarded with a victory.
It is one of the biggest motorsports events, the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach.
Drivers, start your engine!
We're racing at Long Beach. Castroneves leads down to turn one. Dixon needs a good result here today. Scott Dixon waiting to pounce.
You gotta go here. Okay, you wanna go. Boy, Dixon just went by us.
Scott Dixon out in front on cruise control. Juan Pablo Montoya all over the back of Simon Pagenaud. Side by side, Pagenaud has to give it up.
One more lap.
Scott Dixon wins at Long Beach for the first time.
Well done, guys. We won at Long Beach. Oh my God, is anything? 8 years of frustration. That makes up for it, Scott.
Just fantastic. I can't believe we've done it.
Not only was that a significant milestone for Dixon in his career, but it vaulted him 12 places up to 4th after the opening 3 rounds of the 2015 Verizon IndyCar Series. A little further down in 8th, Sebastian Bourdais also jumped 5 places at the last race in Long Beach. So it was a huge race for those two guys. But I want to draw your attention to the top 3. Not only are they famous names in the sport, but they're not exactly spring chickens anymore. 39 years of age for the championship leader, 39 for Castroneves, and just last year, Tony Kanaan turned 40. They are showing that they still have everything it needs to be champions in the Verizon IndyCar Series. But our man on top is Juan Pablo Montoya, and he's standing by with Kelly Stavist.
As we just saw, Juan Pablo Montoya holds a narrow 2-point lead in the championship standings over his teammate Helio Castroneves. But Juan, it was a tale of two qualifyings. While Elio was on pole, you're back in 15th. How can you overcome that deficit here at Barber?
Well, I'll tell you the truth, I think our Hawk Performance car has been pretty good. We kind of struggled in qualify a little bit. Yesterday, actually, all day we struggled. We made some changes today, it seemed a little better. Not where we want to be. We really don't understand why. You know, I run a very different setup than my teammates, so it's been work so far. But I mean, to be honest with you, championship is a long run, so we're gonna have good races and bad races. And to be honest with you, today we just gotta make the most out of it. And you know, I can say I probably got the best looking car today, so hopefully we can get up front.
All right, well, Juan Pablo Montoya looking for his 7th straight top 5 finish.
Where did Will Power start in Long Beach? He started 18th. Where does the two-time Barber winner Ryan Hunter-Reay start today? 18th. He has got some work to do. A quick reminder, if you want to follow Will Power and have adrenaline on demand, download the IndyCar 15 mobile app to get amazing live streams from in-car cameras and a whole lot more, only from Verizon. Flying in yesterday before a big thunderstorm and rain shower hit the Barber Motorsports Park circuit, but today is unbelievable. Just a gorgeous spring day. You know, it's not uncommon for winners at the top of their game in different sports to share common interests. For a start, they have insatiable appetites for success, as Ryan Hunter-Reay found out recently when he spent time with the University of Alabama head coach, Nick Saban.
Hey, Ryan Hunter-Reay here. We're down here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama today. We're going to meet up with Coach Saban, take a tour of the facilities. It's going to be fun. Roll Tide.
Coach Saban,
Great to meet you.
but how fast?
So at Indianapolis, we do a top speed about 236.
Ryan's a really interesting guy, and I was fascinated to find out some of the things we found out today about his conditioning.
And there's no power steering, so it's very physical. I'm constantly at about 170 beats per minute in the car.
What it takes to race this race car for 3.5 hours, to have that kind of focus and concentration. We can't get our guys to focus on 2 plays in a row.
So Coach Saban says focus and concentration, 2 attributes that Ryan Hunter-Reay is going to have to demonstrate today to come from 18th to perhaps win his 3rd Barber race in as many years. You know, any driver will tell you that they have favourite tracks for certain reasons. Usually it's based off some good success. For Ryan Hunter-Reay, Barber Motorsports Park is one of those tracks. It's the Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama.
The big winner there is Ryan Hunter-Reay. They really bottle up behind him.
Wow, nice move, Ryan Hunter-Reay.
He's going to make the pass and take over the lead.
Hunter-Reay wins at Barber Motorsports Park.
Driving my tail off trying to stay in front of Dixon. Great way to start the season.
And we look for the green flag. It is out.
Will Power in the lead.
Power is off. And that is played just beautifully into Ryan Hunter-Reay's hands. It is checkered flag time for Ryan Hunter-Reay. 2nd year in a row.
What a dream to drive a car like that in conditions like that. I just had a blast out there today.
And Ryan Hunter-Reay finished 3rd before winning here last year. And back in 2010, Elio Castroneves won the inaugural race. He also started 3rd, and that might bode well for Simon Pagenaud, who has that position today.
Well, I like those statistics. We'll see. I mean, the car's been super fast. The Penske truck Renault is up there. We've been, 1, 2, 3, the whole team Penske up front in qualifying. So really proud of the team. I think, we're showing how hard we're working in the background. And today is good. I'm 3rd. I'm happy. I think it was good qualifying, and we got a good pace in race conditions. So it's a little bit hotter. Conditions have changed. So there should be quite a bit of tire wear. It's going to be interesting to see who does what time, and it's definitely going to be very important to do good pit stops, good out laps and in laps.
It's good to have your teammates fast, but it's also a delicate situation when 2 of them start right next to you. How do you approach turn 1?
Well, they're competition like everybody else. The sure thing is you're not really allowed to touch a Penske car. So. And that's normal. We race for the same team. You don't want to get together into an incident. So we're going to take care of each other, but we're going to race hard, and that's what we've been doing in Long Beach so well. So I'm looking forward to it.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Simon Pagenaud coming off his best finish of the season, 4th last week at Long Beach, Lee.
And Kev, one of the guys he's going to be fighting is Scott Dixon. He'd never won at Long Beach until his good luck charm, his wife Emma, turned up. He's never won here. I wonder if that luck will continue. Park Museum. last year was awarded by the Guinness Book of Records the world's largest motorcycle museum. It's not just bikes though. I mean, this is an incredible feature created by the man behind the name of this venue, George Barber. It's multi-story, 144,000 square feet in size, and it is simply amazing. More than 250,000 people visit it each and every year. As we welcome you back to IndyCar Live, presented by Verizon. Do you know Scott Dixon has moved into the top 5 on the all-time IndyCar wins list, courtesy of his win just a week ago on the streets of Long Beach. He's a 3-time series champion, but not all of them have come easy, mainly because he started the year in a slower fashion than he would like. But you know what? 2015 is already different.
We started the season so slow, or not slow, but just, didn't really collect the points that we needed and had a few issues.
Oh, Dixon's in. The race leader is in.
Coming back at him. Here we go. Dixon's around, and is he into the gravel? Yes.
Oh, crash. Scott Dixon. Oh, Dixon makes contact with a wall.
I've said it before, we need to work on our start of the season, and, we maybe been a little bit better, but we really need to be a lot better at the start of our championships.
They've come in to make a pit stop, and
something's wrong.
They've got an issue with the left rear tire.
That's going to cost him a lot of ground.
Talk about uncharacteristic for Scott Dixon starting on entrance points here this weekend. That is not what he needed. He had been blazingly fast.
He's back in 20th.
Each time you go to Long Beach, different seasons are different things that you maybe struggle with and getting it together. I've never won there before. I won in Indy Lights back in 2000. It's a tough track and one that I want to master one day, but it's definitely been coming up short.
Scott Dixon just is on cruise control. Scott Dixon wins at Long Beach for the first time.
I still can't believe we won here at Long Beach. It's such a memorable and such a worthy track. I'm just so stoked.
Scott Dixon off to a rough start, but he's now firmly in the championship points race.
Everybody's very fired up. We're very hungry, to get back and winning some races. Trying to win, the 500 championship, etc. So, I think that goes a long way. Mindset is definitely a big deal coming into the season.
Scott Dixon wins the Long Beach Grand Prix for the first time last week, passes Bobby Unser on the all-time winners list, but more importantly, you're 4th in the points, and usually you're buried after 3 or 4 races.
Yeah, and that makes it hard at the end of the season. So, obviously trying to regain after the first 2 races. We had, problems, St. Pete, and then NOLA was a bit of a non-race for us, and it was great, but more importantly to finally win at Long Beach. That was huge for us, huge for Target. It was a big Target weekend, and it was definitely plenty to celebrate, and obviously my first win at Long Beach.
Okay, you've never been off the podium here, but you've never won. You just think today's probably the day to do it?
I hope so. We've got the Coca-Cola car here today, and we're definitely looking, the car's been fast. We're at least in the top 4 in every session, fast this morning in warm-up. I kind of missed in qualifying, didn't get what we exactly needed out of it, but, to try and get to that top spot, we've, as you said, been on the podium 5 times in a row here, just not the top spot. So we'll do our best, and where's your Coke, man?
I lost it, brother. I'm so sorry. Lee, it's the Penske's against the Ganassis, 4 against 2 today.
Setting up for a good fight, Robin, isn't it? If you said to any other driver from 5 starts, if you could have 4 seconds and a third at a racing venue, they'd say, I'll take it any day. But when you name Scott Dixon, that is not enough. He really wants to get that elusive win here in Alabama. There's a couple of other guys he's going to be fighting. One of them on the right is his teammate, Tony Kanaan at Chip Ganassi Racing on the left. One great young American hope, Joseph Newgarden. You're watching IndyCar Live, brought to you by Verizon. Adrenaline on demand. Download IndyCar 15 from Verizon. Almost ready to get things rolling here on a beautiful day in Birmingham, Alabama. Let's get it going with the pre-race ceremonies.
Race fans, at this time, we ask that you rise and remove your hats as the Alabama National Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Father Deacon Andrew Baruti of St. George Melkite Greek Catholic Church, Birmingham, Alabama, offers this afternoon's invocation.
Lord Jesus Christ, our God, the way, the truth, and the life, who traveled together with your Holy Mother and foster father into Egypt, and who accompanied the 2 disciples as they journeyed to Emmaus. O Master, travel also with these your servants, and bless their journey around and around this tract. Send an angel with them, as you did with Tobias, to keep them from danger and harm. In peace, health, and goodwill may they return home again and glorify your all-holy name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
And now, race fans, please welcome country singer and songwriter from Oaks Bluff, Alabama, Drake White, for the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
How about a race fans from Oaks Bluff, Alabama, Drake White, and the singing of our national anthem.
Getting closer to the start of the Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama on a beautiful day here in Birmingham. Time now for a couple of open wheel experts to join us. Townsend Bell, and from F1 on NBC Sports, Mr. Steve Matchett. Guys, great to have you with us here. Townsend, you first up. In the off-season, Team Penske almost sent a warning to the rest of the IndyCar field. We are coming on stronger than ever, bringing 4 cars to the 2015 season. It's not a warning anymore, it's a reality.
Oh, they're a force to be reckoned with, no question. Every weekend, they're strong. But usually there's one guy that's been out of that mix. Last weekend at Long Beach, that was Will Power. Disastrous qualifying. This week, it's Juan Pablo Montoya, and what should be very concerning for him, we ran the numbers, his average start position relative to his average finish position is the worst in the field. Throughout his career on road and street courses, he averages about 4 spots worse finishing than he qualifies. So the championship implications today could be huge if Montoya can't overcome that statistical disadvantage.
Yeah, we saw that last week on the streets of Long Beach in California. Hey, Steve, this Penske Power, this steamroller, reminiscent to you of another team in open wheel racing?
Oh boy, is it ever. Very, very similar to Mercedes in Formula One. Once again, Penske dominating here, doing a very, very good job. Yeah, all the teams are using very similar equipment in Indy racing, as we know, unlike in Formula One, but the preparation work and also the aerodynamic package that these guys are using is really coming to the fore.
It's going to be something to watch and enjoy today for round 4 of the Verizon IndyCar Series. Getting close to race start. You've been watching IndyCar Live, presented by Verizon. Stay with us. When we come back, it's race time. Let's hope we get a slammer in Bama. Last week in Long Beach, the sun finally shone on Scott Dixon. Having never finished better than 4th, the 3-time series champ was out to make history. Charging to 2nd at the start, the fight with Helio Castroneves would be won in the pits.
Oh, it's going to be close at one. And now Castro Neves, he's going to lose ground to Scott Dixon.
That could be the move that wins Scott Dixon the Long Beach Grand Prix.
The Iceman was perfect today on attack right from the green flag.
Scott Dixon wins at Long Beach for the first time.
I still can't believe you won here at Long Beach. It's such a memorable and such a worthy track. We're going to keep digging and hopefully we can add to this.
Can Dixon take that momentum to Birmingham and overcome 5 consecutive podium finishes? The challenge will be to beat Ryan Hunter-Reay, who's coming off back-to-back wins at Barber Motorsports Park. Let's do it again for the 4th time in 5 weeks. IndyCar's race for the 2015 championship as NBCSN welcomes you to live coverage of the Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama from the spectacular Barber Motorsports Park in Birmingham, Alabama. Conditions couldn't be better. The drivers might disagree. It's a little bit warm and it's a little bit humid. They're going to work for it today.
Yeah, they certainly will. And this will be the ultimate test of this new downforce with the body kits. The minimum speed so high today, driver endurance is going to be paramount.
90 laps is the distance. It's going to be a long, hard day's work. Let's get things going.
Alabama race fans, are you ready? It's time for those most famous words in all of sports. Please welcome the mayor of the city of Birmingham, the Honorable Mayor William A. Bell Sr., as he gives a command.
Drivers, start your engines!
Well, this is becoming a familiar sight. For the 5th straight race dating back to last year, we have an all-Penske front row. Helio Castroneves will start on the pole. Moments ago, he told me he'll be aggressive but smart. Will Power will start outside of him. I talked to him moments ago. He said, I'm not worried about Helio. I'm worried about my teammate Simon Pagenaud. My plan, let Helio go, get into second. Don't let Pagenaud steal that spot. Kelly?
Juan Pablo Montoya leads the championship standings, but that could easily change today. The guys chasing him down are well ahead of him on the grid as JPM starts 15th. Barber's been known as a tough place to pass. We could see a strategy move early from the 2 car. Kevin?
Kelly, Ryan Hunter-Reay has won this race the last 2 years, but that was starting from the front. Now he's mired in the back in 18th. He said we have to go off strategy, do opposite of what the leaders do, and then hope we're fast. But he said, honestly, I just don't know at this point. We've been throwing everything at it. It would take a massive effort for Hunter-Reay to get there.
But if anyone can do it, Ryan Hunter-Reay and Andretti Autosport can. Hey, a quick reminder, don't miss a chance to get in on Honda's fastest seat in sports sweepstakes by entering at shophonda.com. On the right-hand side of your screen there is Joe Kajowski from Jacksonville in Florida. He's today's lucky winner. He's riding with the man who did a great job last week on a late call-up in Long Beach. That's Connor Daly. And Joe won, as I mentioned, by logging on to shophonda.com. How's the view? How's the ride, Joe?
It's fantastic. Thank you, Honda. Awesome.
Well, good. Glad you're enjoying it, and glad you're enjoying it with a very talented young American IndyCar driver who just announced that he will be at next month's Indianapolis 500 with Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports. Well done to the team and to Connor Daly. All right, time to take a look at this Barber Motorsports Park track. Townsend?
Well, Lee, you said it earlier. The driver demand's extremely high here at Barber Motorsports Park. Starts right away in turn 1. This is a 5th gear corner. You barely slow down for the apex. It's about 140 mile an hour minimum speed. And then you work your way to the backside, the most technical side of the track here. And you've got 3 apexes to hit over. They are right here. 1, 2, 3. You'll go crashing over those curbs as you work down to the apex of that right-hander by the famous museum. And then I think this is probably the biggest challenge. Super high speed, 4th gear. This chicane brings you up over a blind rise, down into a valley, and then up over another blind rise. The fastest guys here are the best drivers in the sport. It takes a lot to piece it all together. Now, this was me last week. out at CXC Simulations in Los Angeles. I'm wearing glasses, Steve, that are sensing where my eyes look. On the right-hand screen, you'll see an orange circle. That is actually the sensor showing where I'm looking on the track. It's that kind of detail, guys, that you need to be fast here at Barber.
I'm not sure if you were Batman or Robin with those glasses on. Time to take a look at the starting grid, brought to you by Mother's Polish. And as Marty mentioned, at Penske domination, 5th time in a row, an all Penske front row. Look for Graham Rahal more often than not, Steve, this weekend. He's been Honda's highest placed driver.
He has. He's been doing very well, and it's going to be very interesting to see how these cars and these tyres handle this high heat. This is hotter than we've had it all weekend, Townsend.
I think it's a great point, Steve. Nobody has had a chance to do a long run on red tires here at Barber under the new downforce configuration.
Yeah.
Puts a tremendous load on the rubber. The wear rate is going to be a big story.
As in every round of the Verizon IndyCar Series, we've got some terrific onboards for you to show you the action. We're going to have this one for you from Charlie Kimball with thanks to Novolog. It's not the only one, a whole lot more. We climb on board with the Mayor of Hinchtown, James Hinchcliffe, with thanks to Lucas Oil. Steak and Shake brings us this view for Graham Rahal, and as I said, he's been doing very well for Honda this weekend. Sebastian Bourdais, incredibly consistent this year in the championship with thanks to Verizon, and Tony Kanaan shows us the NTT data on board view. And don't forget, you can follow Will Power with the Verizon streaming on board. Adrenaline on demand. Download the IndyCar 15 mobile app to get amazing live streams from in-car cameras and a whole lot more. You know where to go, only from Verizon. The boys have set it up. It's hot. It is humid, but there is no immediate threat of rain. So we've got 90 laps, 90 great laps ahead of us. And these boys have been working hard. The teams have been working hard. This is it. This is what we've been waiting for. All of the tracks thus far have been flat. This is far from it. The spectacular undulating Barber Motorsports Park. Round 4, the Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama. Look at power. Castro Neves defends it. On the inside goes Joseph Newgarden.
And I don't think Simon Pagenaud will be too happy about that. Power did exactly what he said he would do, but a hard swerve over on the front straight that allowed Newgarden to get by.
From 5th to 3rd, the CFH Racing Chevrolet just dived down on the inside. Into 5, this is one of the hot spots.
Look at Sebastian Bourdais make an inside move on Pagenaud as others further back, like Montoya, getting very racy. Bourdais is the first driver in the queue that's gone with the harder black sidewall. Everybody else is on red.
Yeah, Montoya desperately trying to move through this field. He's far too far back than he would prefer. He's got to try and work his way through this field, and even on the opening lap, pushing those brakes, pushing the car deep into the corner.
Tell you who got the best of him there, Steve, with James Jakes. Montoya got him at the start.
Yeah.
James came back around him at the outside of turn 5. Excellent stuff from all 23 drivers.
Terrific clean start from everybody. Now, instantly, as we go into sort of single file formation here, look at Will Power working the outside. That is Newgarden getting past for 2nd. Wow.
A start from Joseph Newgarden. He has got better with every race this year, improving his position. That's why he's in the top 10 in the championship. He wants this year, 2015, to be his year and break the drought, break that winless drought.
I was just about to say that everybody's going to start thinking about saving fuel, but Joseph Newgarden didn't get that memo. He's racing to the front.
No, he did not.
Sebastian Bourdais, what a start for him, already up 2 spots. And as you mentioned, he is the first car on those primary black tires. And the team told me he was just hoping to defend his position and hope that eventually he'll be on red tires while the rest of the field is on black. He was hoping they'd come up to temperature quickly to close that gap on the red tires, but never expected to be making moves like that so early in the race, Marty.
We've been impressed with the moves by Joseph Newgarden, gotten up to the 2nd position so far. And we got to remember, this is a hometown race for Joseph. Born in Nashville, about 2.5, 3 hours from here. His side of town's about 3 hours away. And he only has 6 family members here. I asked him why so few. He said, you know, honestly, I don't like a big crowd at the racetrack. I want to concentrate on my job when I'm here. So just a couple of family members here. I'm sure, Townsend, you know that. You don't want a lot of family here, do you? But you want a couple people supporting you, don't you?
One thing I've learned, Marty, I don't care if I want them or not. They'll show up. They'll find a way. But Joseph Newgarden, clearly a guy that's been on the verge of winning his first race.
Joseph
IndyCar
Newgarden, guys, he is doing absolutely stellar work here. He managed to get around power and did that very well, and now he seems to be charging down onto Castroneves' car ahead of him. Newgarden is doing absolutely stellar stuff in his opening two laps.
Helio Castroneves, Joseph Newgarden, Will Power, Simon Pagenaud, Sebastian Bourdais, Scott Dixon 6th, Ray Hall, Luca Filippi 8th. Canaan has gone backwards from his 6th spot on the start, back to 9th, and then James Hinchcliffe.
Well, if I'm Helio Castroneves right now, I'm working with my team to hit that fuel number while managing the gap from behind. So he's going to do just enough to stay ahead and make sure that Joseph and the gap is consistent. Joseph's job, of course, is to do anything he can to try to get by, but at this point, he's got to worry about tire wear. As he gets closer to Castroneves, he loses downforce, and the car starts to slide around more.
Never finished better than 8th at Barber Motorsports Park, Joseph Newgarden. He runs in a very strong and confident 2nd at the moment. Early days, though, in this 90-lap event. You're watching NBCSN's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Steak and Shake, home of the original steak burger, proud sponsor of number 15, Graham Rahal. Racing lap 6 here at Barber Motorsports Park, the Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama, and Helio Castroneves, the pole sitter, championship contender. He's only 2 points out of the lead of the 2015 championship. Leads and leads well. He's responded to the challenge from Joseph Newgarden. This is Carlos Munoz. He was one of the biggest movers. He jumped up 2 spots in the opening laps, but we believe he's gone off track. This is what happened on the inside. Takuma Sato, do they touch?
Well, I'm going to wait and see here. It looks like there was some room. That looked strangely like New Orleans with a couple guys getting pushed off at the exit. But to me, if you're going to hang there on the outside of the corner, you run that risk of being run off the road. It doesn't look like any damage to Munoz. He's back underway.
All right, let's go back to the start. We go on board with Will Power.
Will Power did exactly what he said he'd do, drop right behind Helio and just try to make sure that he doesn't let Pagenaud get through. Here you'll see Pagenaud in the yellow car up ahead, trying to make a move to the inside as we're on board with Tony Kanaan. We understand Will Power was actually given a warning for blocking as you see Graham Rahal work his way up the head side of Kanaan, on board now with Bourdais.
Yeah, all of these shots from the start of the race, seen from a different angle. Bourdais going around TK.
And you know what? You don't have to just be decisive in IndyCar Series racing. You have got to make your mind up fast, being decisive. But then you've got to execute, and that's exactly what Joseph Newgarden did when he saw those two spots open up. On board the Steak and Shake machine. Wow! Kanaan almost collided there with Sebastian Bourdais.
Graham Rahal doing the crossover on Kanaan, working that clean air on the outside line as you see Bourdais get awfully squirrely, trying to get the power down up ahead. On board now with Hinchcliffe.
Got a good shot there at the Kanaan Bourdais.
Hinch just trying to find a gap, just trying to find where he wants to position his car.
Well, and definitely trying to avoid any contact there on the start to keep the wings clean. We're on board with Kimball now, looking out the back as Sage Karam goes up the outside. I think that's Marco Andretti directly behind.
That illustrates the point on just how busy it is and how little room there is on that opening lap, the opening sequence of corners.
Well, it's so hard, of course, on full fuel. Tires aren't up to pressure yet, and you know these corners are pretty wide. There's really good grip all across the racing surface at the start of the race.
Well, there's a lot of frantic action at the start of the race, and this track is not particularly wide, is it? But everybody managing to do a good job and find their positions, even if they lost a couple of spots. Little contact between the cars. That's good to see.
Want to update you on the Carlos Munoz situation. I apologize. I did say it was Takuma Sato. It was in fact his teammate in the 41, Jack Hawksworth. No action taken. Racing incident. And we race on. So too does Graham Rahal, sitting in the 7th position.
Doing a nice job.
So Will Power with a warning to start things off. Steve, how many warnings have you heard in the last 3 years in Formula One?
Well, there's been all sorts of controversies and actions going off in Formula One, that is for sure.
And guys, of course, Scott Dixon, we've talked quite a bit about it in the pre-race show, won the race at Long Beach last week, a win which he described to me earlier this week as epic. His first career win at Long Beach, very special for Mike Hull, the man who calls the shots for Scott Dixon because he is from the Southern California area, and he's been fast all weekend long. You know, it's funny, they won on a street course last weekend, but he told me earlier this week, I feel like that's our weakest spot. He said, I feel like we're strongest right here at the road courses. After all the preseason testing they did was at New Orleans, also here, so they feel like they should be much faster today. The segment he's really thinking about, Lee, that second segment, when they slap on the primary tires, that's where Dixon was so much faster than everybody else last week at Long Beach.
And Marty, when you're somebody like a driver like Scott Dixon, a 3-time series champion, Indy 500 winner, you might think you've done it all, but Scott Dixon is not that kind of person. Last weekend's victory in Long Beach was a true team effort. His great friend and old teammate Dario Franchitti was there. And Mike Hull, the general manager of the team, was sharing with Steve and myself the other day that Dario has the biggest binder of personalized and intricate, specific, detailed, handwritten notes about every track he has raced on around the world. And he shared his file with Scott Dixon when they were walking around the track. And Scott tried Long Beach his own way, the way that he'd done it before. And he said, you know what, I'm just going to drive these corners like Dario. And he came back and said, wow. And he came back and won the race for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. It was fascinating talking to those guys. Scott Dixon, Townsend, I don't know if you're seeing it, the rear of the car seems to be breaking around a little bit of oversteer. And on a lap before,
well, this is Draconate for Dale Coyne Racing. Had a moment in the morning warm-up today. Didn't hit anything, just spun.
Good catch.
Coming onto the front straight, and there was that same radio transmission, actually.
I don't know that that's deserving of a good catch when you're backwards off the track, but it's nice, at least for the field, that we don't go full course caution. Now we're lap 11 right now as we watch Castroneves continue the lead. I think very shortly we could see some pit stops as somebody takes a gamble to try to pit off sequence.
Helio Castroneves in the AAA entry for Roger Penske. He really knows one got away from him last weekend on the streets of Long Beach. The dancing man wants to get one back. back at Barber Motorsports Park. I know you've been seeing this at home, and what a frantic fight it is. It might not be for the top spots, but it is certainly interesting. And look at this on the inside. James Jakes tries to push through. Hunter Ray is the first to come in, and we will follow that. The boys said it right at the top of the show. He's going to have to go off strategy. Montoya on the inside of Jakes, can't do it. Karam slices across the front inside. Let's get it to Marty.
Well, this was a debate, Lee. How early do you come for that first stop? And they called him to pit road very quickly for Ryan Hunter-Reay. Just lap 12, you can see him on the right side of your screen putting on those sticker red tires to get those primaries off of there. We have noticed that it's been much quicker on these red tires. We'll see where Ryan Hunter-Reay circles back out, and also he'll have clean track to work with. That's big, Lee.
And Marty, all that cluster here is because Sage Karam in the black and red car is on those red tires, and they are going off fast, Steve. The grip has gone way faster than anybody anticipated.
Yeah, we were looking at that earlier on, and even in the warm-up, when yesterday it was rainy and cold, and today in warm-up it was much warmer. These red tires started to go off this morning in the warm-up, and we saw it on Scott Dixon's car. Scott Dixon's right front had a very bad wear line around it, only after about 9 laps. The guys really wanted to run these tires to around lap 24, there or thereabouts, but I don't think there's any chance of getting that far today.
You see Gabby Chavez duck in now around lap 14 as Sage Karam continues to try to hang on there. He's circulating the track a full 3 seconds off the leader's pace. We'll have to also watch for the guys up front to see if they experience similar issues.
Yeah.
Straight, foot on the brake.
Brian Hurta is talking to Gabby Chavez, who goes from the primary Firestone to the alternate reds, gets Sunoco fuel, and they have to go back up because they have a problem on the right rear. Also, Chavez, as he has a difficult time getting away, has been hearing race control in his ear. So it's not only difficult for a rookie enough, but now he's got extra chatter in his ear they've been trying to get IndyCar officials to take care of.
Oh boy, look at this scrap between teammates at AJ Foyt Racing, Takuma Sato and Jack Hawksworth, Sage Karam. They're coming from everywhere, attacking the rookie. Carlos Munoz is the next one in the line.
Wow, look at Sage Karam with a huge slide. Boy, guys, if I'm the team, I'm thinking just get it to pit lane. Let's switch strategies.
Yeah, you've got to get off these tires. You've got to get off them, son. They're doing you no good at all.
And they want him to hang on for one more lap to get to their fuel window, and he said the same thing. I think we need to pit.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of keeping that pit strategy works in theory, providing you're not losing that lap time. But look at the way these tires are falling off. You can never get that back in the pits.
He got out of the opening phase of qualifying for the first time yesterday. He was thrilled. Look at this, Graham Rahal on the inside of Scott Dixon. This is for 7th, down at the turn 5 hairpin. Nice move.
And Hondas are passing Chevys right now, guys. Chevy has had the advantage, and now the Hondas are showing very strong form with the red tire grip drop off.
And we know, Townsend, all weekend we've seen that Chevy aerodynamic kit has been absolutely dominant over Honda. So again, that's got to be more evidence. It is tires, and you've got to get off them. Look at the car slide.
Rahal has had the best start to a season in a number of years. He's not getting positions that he would like, but however, he's in the top 10 in the championship. Let's ride with Graham aboard the Steak and Shake machine to see how he gets it done.
This is a textbook pass, a great draft up the inside, going to turn 5. Just simply outbrakes Scott. Scott knows that he's in trouble on grip. And Graham Rahal, another move.
Dixon's in. Marty is standing by.
And he reported on the radio, guys, early in that run, he said the tires are going away much quicker than I anticipated, so they're going to come in, put on the primary tires. Again, they think this is going to be a key segment. If Scott Dixon can be fast on these primary tires, you see the stop of those primaries going on for Dixon, who fell from 4th to 8th during that run, Lee. Kelly?
Marco Andretti, who just got another.
And look at this, dramas down at Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports. And finally, at Ganassi, Sage Karam is in and he says thank you.
The relief.
Yeah.
The relief. He's on to the primary tires. Guys, I think everybody up and down pit lane is going to be watching this and completely change what they originally intended.
Yeah, you've got to think on your toes, you've got to think on your feet. Look at the cars around, look at the competition. Yes, look at your own pit strategy, but look at the competition. If you start to see the big hitters coming in to change tires, there's a good reason for it. You have to react to that.
Been very clean up front, as you would imagine, for Helio Castroneves, but let's throw some praise to Joseph Newgarden. It's gone from about 0.8 of a second to 1.2, 1.3, and then it's come back. It's kind of fluctuated, but in that range, Newgarden has kept Castroneves in touch.
Newgarden has been brilliant on this permanent road course. Let's not forget, as we see Tony Kanaan come to pit lane, let's not forget Joseph Newgarden, a young American with an American F1 team coming on the line next year. Steve, he could be a candidate as Kanaan comes to his box.
Yeah, and he's doing everything right to impress everyone today, not just in the IndyCar world, but also in Formula One. Of course, Formula One guys are watching these races as much as anything else.
Interesting that Kanaan takes off reds and puts reds back on. We'll have to watch that story as he goes deep into the stint.
Townsend, he had his hands full at the start, didn't he, as we check in with Simon Pagenaud. And here he is, chasing his Power, doing some chasing. So Castroneves, Newgarden, Pagenaud, Power, Bourdais. What are your thoughts on Bourdais' strategical decision to start the race on the primary tyre?
Well, Steve is circling some things. Steve, what do you see there?
It's just that wear pattern across that right front around here. The
right,
right,
you want reds or blacks here?
Yeah, the right seems to be taking a terrible pounding around this track.
And that's Tim Cindric coming on the radio. They're at lap 18. There's probably 6 or 7 laps, I would guess, until they pit. And Cindric wants to know to Will Power, which tires do you want next? Kelly?
We saw Tony Kanaan come in to make his pit stop. He has really been struggling out there. He said, I need a lot of help. They gave him 2 turns of front wing, you'll see here on his pit stop, and he's been really, really loose. The tires have gone off. At one point they said, you need to close the gap to the 20 car, at least close it by a second, and he simply just said, I can't.
So for every Ganassi car so far, Kanaan, Sage Karam, and Scott Dixon, the rear tires are going off extremely fast in the stint for the guys up front. Castroneves, Newgarden, Pagenaud, the rear grip is the more consistent. It's lasting longer.
Steve, you were talking about Will Power. He's just lost another position, this time to Sebastian Bourdais. KV Racing Technology team, the Frenchman has been very consistent this year. Of course, the result got taken away from him, and Power's in.
Yeah.
He was losing too much time.
He was using a lot of time, Lee, and again, we just saw, just as Will Power took into the pit lane, that right front, heavy wear.
First goal accomplished. Back here in the 18th pit position, they desperately want to pit under green. They don't want everybody in under yellow at the same time. Will Power and Tim Cindric debated blacks or reds. They decided to go on sticker reds because Power said, I'm losing all kinds of time just hanging on, but that means he'll be on a black set for the last stint, Marty.
Kevin, we watch our championship leader Juan Montoya coming down pit road. They have not had as many problems. In fact, he fell back at one point, then made his way back up to 11th through all these cycles of pit stops, and they're going to go off of the primaries to the red tires and a caution out on the racetrack. That's Will Power lead.
Will Power and one of the AJ Foyt cars. So this is on his out lap. Power was on his out lap.
And I believe that's Takuma Sato. He's got a damaged left front wing.
Yeah, it is.
Boy.
Oh, wow, there it goes. Well,
and you have to think that Power's coming out of the pits. Sato's on hot tires. Power's trying to defend the position, but hopefully we'll get a replay.
Yeah.
Race leader is in. So too is the second place Joseph Newgarden. Race on pit road. Remember, a week ago, Helio Castroneves lost the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach on pit road. They want to be slick. Here we go, Marty.
Yeah, the lead, the guys who ran 1-2 for that entire run, both hit pit road at the same time here, and a full course caution comes out as they hit pit road. This will be key for these guys. You see Newgarden already leading. He has primary sticker tires, and you see Helio Castroneves with the primary sticker tires on. The 67 team, Joseph Newgarden, beats Castroneves off pit road.
And for the second week in a row, Castroneves had a horrendous pit stop there, right front. Tire change issues as we're on board with Graham Rahal, who blends back out onto the track. Guys, Castroneves must be thinking, what do I have to do on pit lane?
So, frustration for the man who had led every lap from the drop of the green. And we still wonder what happened to Will Power and Takuma Sato. So, what was fairly straightforward, all bar a few little close glances, we now see ourselves under a full course caution for the first time here at Barber Motorsports Park.
Well, the guys that'll have a nice advantage here, guys like Hunter Ray, who pitted early, Gabby Chavez, who pitted early, they're going to go straight up the queue as some of the cars that haven't pitted yet will take advantage of this yellow.
All right, let's take you back to that Power Sato incident. Will Power on the right-hand side, exiting pit lane.
Now, Power's responsibility is to blend safely, and that is not at all how you blend safely.
Ouch.
He went straight to the apex, and that could be a big problem with race control for Will Power.
The pit stop went well for Power.
And
trying to get the car out fast, but
I don't see how he comes out of that without a penalty.
No.
I think Power's desperate to get ahead here. He knows what's happening, but just not. He needed about another half a second saved in the pits, but now let's have a look at Elio and keep your eye on here. I think we might see the wheel nut come bouncing out. There it comes. There it is. Look. Wheel nuts exit stage left, and now you see the guys struggling to try and get that on. Here's the spare wheel nut now coming off the mechanic's waist belt right here.
You know what, Steve? The right front tire changer was trying to put the nut on without a nut in the gun.
Exactly.
He was hitting the gun before he realized.
That's exactly right.
He just never saw it.
He didn't know. Thankfully, he did have a spare wheel nut on his belt, which is great thought, and worked well for him.
It went away from Elio Castro-Neves for the second week in a row. Simon Pagenaud is your new race leader. Pit lane alive with action here at Barber Motorsports Park. Simon Pagenaud you see in the front there. Sebastian Bourdais in the background. Luca Filippi on the right. Has Bourdais lost a position to Filippi? The run off pit lane. Filippi should have that spot, and he does. As we welcome you back to the Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama. What an opening stanza. What an opening 20 laps. Good position changes at the start. We've had a little bit of controversy. We're still waiting on race control's decision on what exactly will happen to Will Power with that contact, that severe contact with Takuma Sato exiting the pit lane.
Let's watch this. Little profile here on Newgarden. Again, local boy, Tennessee, and you know he had such a great run, guys, last year. I think it was Mid-Ohio, right? Pit stop issue for him took the win away, but so far, smooth sailing. He has executed brilliantly.
Let's have a look, because he is today's Chevrolet driver profile. And you know what? In addition to doing a very good job on track today, he is quite the character away from the track. This is what we're talking about. Time with the paces. Yeah, got to slam a few as well. Nice dunk. Did 3 of those. Was part of the, well, invited, along with Sage Karam, to take part in some special activities at the NFL Combine. And whenever there's any promotional type duties for the series or whatever, a guy with a happy face, a good sense of humor, and great with people is 24-year-old Joseph Newgarden. As Marty mentioned earlier, he is from Hendersonville, Tennessee. Mum and dad are here. His 2 sisters aren't here. They're busy. One's just graduating college, the other one's a nurse. So they've got plenty of things to do, but they're extremely proud of their brother Joseph, who has done a super job today thus far. So Ryan Hunter-Reay, what a day he has had. And made up some good positions, Marty. As you know, he pitted nice and early, pitted off sequence in comparison to the others, but they know, and you flagged it right at the top of the show, they had to do something different. That was really their only option, Lee. They pitted at lap 13, the first of the cars to pit, and look how it's worked out for Ryan Hunter-Reay. Now he's going to wind up in 7th position when we finally take the green flag here. And they told him on the radio, you're turning some of the fastest times of everyone when he went out on those primary tires. So this might work out after all for Ryan Hunter-Reay. And don't forget, he knows his way around this racetrack, doesn't he, Lee? He's won the last 2 races here. Well, for Hunter-Reay to make it to the end, he's going to have to still be very conservative on fuel. Lap 13 was awfully early to pit. He was going to need some yellow, but he's got it here. And another man on screen there in the Coca-Cola Chevrolet is Scott Dixon. He's got about 3 more laps fuel than what Ryan Hunter-Reay does. For the guys at the front, the likes of Newgarden, Castroneves, Ray Hall, who's worked his way up into 3rd nicely. So too James Hinchcliffe doing a good job. They've got a lot more. Let's check in with Marty. Well, let's check in with Ed Carpenter, and your driver's been doing pretty good here. Has he impressed you early in the going?
Yeah, he showed up ready to go today. Got a great start. Passed a bunch of cars on track. He's doing everything we've asked him, so see what we can do from the lead.
How do you play from the race from the lead now, though?
I just keep doing what he's doing. You know, he's doing a great job. He's done everything we've asked him and more. So see how it plays out. Long way to go.
Very impressive race for the hometown guy, Joseph Newgarden, Lee. Ready to go, ready to restart the Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama. A new car at the front, though. It's Joseph Newgarden. Made a super start, got 2 positions right here at this very corner, and has not looked back. What's Castroneves got for him?
Well, what does Marco Andretti have for Hunter-Reay as he works around the outside there a little further back? Just makes the position on his teammate. That was a heck of a pass, Steve.
Yeah, it really was. You've got to control these restarts and make the best move. But remember, it's all about that tyre temperature, isn't it, at the start?
We have got some news for you as Graham Rahal works on James Hinchcliffe here. This is nice. Good work down into the museum complex. There's a drive-through penalty coming the way of the #1 Verizon Chevrolet of Will Power. That contact with Takuma Sato was avoidable, and that's why he's going to be doing a drive-through. That will frustrate him. Is this going to be 2 weeks in a row, a poor result for Power?
It almost certainly looks to be. Coming on pit lane under green flag conditions is really just eliminates you from any contention, barring a miracle. Here he comes. And this is so painful. You've got to sit here. This is the longest.
So what is the drive-through for?
Huh.
Avoidable contact.
50 miles per hour.
How could he not know what the drive-through was
Typical.
for? You know, he responds typical as if he's the victim here, but that was, I think, well-deserved.
Yeah, this is what it was all about, and we're going to get a very close-up view. There's Takuma Sato. Wait for this. Oof.
Yeah, it may be that incident.
I didn't feel a thing.
Back to the racing, Newgarden, Castro Neves, good gap back to Graham Rahal, James Hinchcliffe, one of the winners this year, Scott Dixon up into a better position. Juan Pablo Montoya with Tony Kanaan in the NTT data car, chasing him down hard. Let's ride with TK.
Look how this track moves around, up, down, left and right, and it undulates all over. It's a beautiful place, but what a challenge.
You can watch that Firestone data in the upper left. Very little braking, a lot of coasting, a lot of flowing and sort of carving around here. Yeah. Great way to save fuel.
This fight for third's good. 2 Honda-powered cars. James Hinchcliffe really starting to work over Graham Rahal. Here goes Hinch, round the outside, which is the long way at turn 5. Rahal's going to make life tough.
Hinch is on the red tires, Graham is on the black, so this is just a few laps into the stint. Hinch has the advantage. It won't last long, so he has an urgency to get by.
And he used the push to pass. Remember, you get 10 pushes to pass, 20 seconds in duration. Gives you that extra boost to try and make up some ground, and Rahal just used his to respond as well.
See Rahal on the button, anticipating an attack from behind, trying to defend.
Got the reds and he wants to use them.
And Hinchcliffe really has to make a move here soon, or else that red tire advantage will disappear very fast. I got to say, it looks to be a day in the cards for Honda with the way they're taking care of their rear tire wear.
Boy, it really does. We didn't expect this all this weekend. We've just been saying how well that Chevrolet bodywork has been working, that aero kit in comparison to Honda. But it isn't so much about aero around here as tires, is it?
Works with 2 extremely intelligent men, Alan McDonald and Robert Gouet. Does James Hinchcliffe on the engineering and strategic side. Look at the mayor of Hinchtown here, down into 5 again. He is just hassling and hounding Rahal big time.
Graham Rahal hanging on a bit here as he slides around on those black tires.
You got to make it.
Trying to force the distance before Hinchcliffe loses the grip. Hinchcliffe only had an option to go around the outside.
What's up with Juan Pablo Montoya, the championship leader? Is he in trouble? We're hearing some various reports about Montoya.
Lee, he said it might be a flat tire. And there you hear John Boslog talking on the radio. His strategists are going to change the front wing. Originally thought it was a flat tire, but it looks like there's a wing issue for Juan Montoya. So he's going to come to pit road, and what has been a rough weekend already gets a little bit rougher for our championship leader, Lee.
I think there's damage to the right front end plate on the car. Underneath, it's underneath where the U channel is, I think.
You want to keep the tires? Whatever you want to do, dude. I don't care. Tires and front wing. 4 tires and front wing. Look for your board.
And you hear the debate. They didn't really know what to do, if it was just a wing or they should put on tires, but they're going to go ahead and do all 4 tires, and they're going to pull that wing off, and there doesn't appear to be very much damage. Yes, there is some damage on the very front corner of that wing, very right front corner of the wing for Juan Montoya. They're going to pull the old one off, put the new one on, give him 4 fresh tires. These will be sticker red tires for Juan Montoya, a little bit softer compound. He'll head back out on the track.
And this is the first blip. This is the first weekend that has not really been typical JPM style. He's never really been in the mix. He was 10th in the first practice, 13th in the second, and didn't make it out of the opening phase of qualifying. So it has been a rough and rugged weekend for Montoya.
And look at Rahal and Hinch. As we're on board with Hinch, they are all over the back of 1 Penske left.
We've got some interesting radio transmission for you from this very car we're riding in. Take a listen.
Coke Rainbow's getting pretty liberal. I'm coming back. Drivers right down into 5 when I'm there. Copy that.
And James is, of course, referring to Graham's line, taking issue with Graham fading over as they approach this corner. Here's Hinch with another run. Not quite as close as before. Let's watch what Graham Rahal does.
As you were saying, and rightly so, Townsend, Hinch has got to make the move. He's probably actually over that time of making the move. Those red tires have really lost their edge now.
Hunter Ray and Kanaan exactly in the spot, the very corner that Hinchcliffe was talking about, where Rahal, is, in his words, was being liberal on his line. So nice move there from Tony Kanaan. So the order is Newgarden, Castro Neves, Rahal, Hinchcliffe. How long will it stay like that? Dixon, Andretti, Canaan, Hunter-Reay, Gabby Chavez and Sebastian Bourdais in the top 10. It's Joseph Newgarden, one of America's hot young talents, leading the way. Our live extra, you can watch today's IndyCar race online at NBCSports.com on mobile and tablets with NBC Sports Live Extra. And another one checked off his list being TK, Tony Kanaan for Chip Ganassi Racing in the NTT Data Machine. As he moves up, let's ride again with TK, doing a nice job today, making up for what was an unusual sloppy start, and he had his hands full with this car.
He did, but he went back to the Firestone red tires, and he's a man on a move right now, but Steve will have to see where do those tires start to fade off if they do on this stint.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be tire strategy all the way through the race.
And we're only third race distance, and Kanaan has used up 9 of his 10 pushes to pass.
Well, if that data is correct, it could be pretty interesting at the end of this race, as Kanaan will be just naked if he's attacked from behind.
Well, and he used those pushes to pass to maintain his position last week in Long Beach. So he used them frugally but sensibly to get him to the finish. However, this week he's been using them up. Look how tight things are in the top 4. Great job, Graham Rahal, James Hinchcliffe, to catch these 2 Chevrolet-powered cars up front. But it's Newgarden who is dictating the terms over Castro Neves. Then Rahal and Hinch. Behind them, Dixon, but he's about 2 seconds further back.
Yeah, this is fast and furious stuff, isn't it? But Newgarden's just been doing an outstanding job of driving this car, controlling the race, doing everything he can to stay ahead. And so far on lap 32, I've got to say, he's the star of the race for me.
You may remember, we spoke about it a little earlier in the broadcast. Elio Castro Neves and the Penske team were bitten in pit lane last week at Long Beach. Elio feels it's what cost him the race win, and he could very well be right. This is what happened. Agonizing wait for Tony Kanaan to come in, and that red blur was Scott Dixon. So safety was the biggest thing there. However, this had nothing to do with safety. Unfortunately, the wheel nut got loose.
Wheel nut got loose, and as you see there, the wheel nut man has a spare nut on his belt, which is a great thing to do.
But in order to use a spare, you have to know that you need a spare. Yes. And unfortunately, he never saw the nut wing out of there.
Yeah.
Is that kind of like someone who needs a golf lesson who doesn't think they need a golf lesson?
I think that would be most golfers.
Oh!
James Jakes.
Stefano Coletti, James Jakes. Coletti on the left, Jakes on the right. And folks, this is a hot spot. I know many of you will be familiar with it. Turn 5 hairpin at Barber.
Wave your hand, wave your hand.
It is a very popular spot for contact, for overtaking, for everything. And it's happened again. Second full course caution. And let's find out what happened with Stefano Coletti, the man from Monaco. Here he is with the orange front wing. On the inside, he's coming from a long way back. And poor old James Jakes just gets nailed. Power's going to have a good view of this.
Oh boy. I'm afraid Stefano Coletti was nowhere near close enough to make that kind of move.
We have seen Stefano pull off similar moves in many years of GP2 competition. He's enjoying himself here in IndyCar, but that one was pretty awkward. We'll be back. Back at the Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama, and more action on pit road as you'd expect. Under caution, take it away, Marty Snyder.
Lee, this will be interesting because we've had some leaders pit, some leaders stay out. So a split strategy here. First, Joseph Newgarden hits his stall as the leader. Sarah Fisher holding out the signboard that time. It's a scuffed set of red tires for him. Oh, and they stalled it a little bit, leaving pit road. Elio Castroneves, you see him at the front of pit road. He actually will flip-flop this time. He'll beat the 67 off pit road. Elio Castroneves leaving pit road now.
Those pit lane mistakes are critical. Joseph Newgarden dumping the clutch while his right front tire changer was still twisting the wing.
Exactly.
Not sure if somebody told Joseph to go on the radio, but you have to minimize the errors if you're going to win today.
Saw Dixon have a good run off pit road, so too will Power. So we'll revise the order for you in just a moment. But Elio Castroneves, he'll say, yeah, inside his helmet. I got one back finally. Graham Rahal, James Hinchcliffe. Very inspiring run for what has been a troublesome and somewhat worrisome run for Honda competitors. They are working, Honda that is, as hard as they can to get level, get more level with Chevrolet if you like, as far as the new aerokits. And boy oh boy, if they can pull off a good result here, they being any Honda competitor, this will be a huge shot in the arm heading into the month of May.
While they might not have the outright speed of the Chevys here at Barber, it sure appears to me, Steve, like they've got the drivability. They're easy on the rear tires.
All the fuel you can, save me all the fuel you can. I got a lot of sweepers out here, unfortunately.
Yeah, couldn't agree more,
well,
Townsend.
the marbles are terrible. That's what I'm trying to get off the tires. The marbles are very bad today.
A lot of marbles, Townsend, that rolled up rubber, particularly off the red tires, I think, and just rolls up and it reduces the racing line, and if it gets onto the tires, all of a sudden you have huge vibration and no grip.
Graham Rahal leads the pack at the moment as we get closer and closer to the halfway mark of the Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama. You're watching NBCSN's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by TireRack.com. Find, deliver, install Tire Rack. We've been talking a lot about this unbelievable venue. It was opened in 2003. First professional race here was a sports car race, but it's hosted motorcycles and so much. This is the 6th consecutive year for IndyCar. It's on in excess of 700 acres. This is something truly incredible that George Barber has created. He had the vision and then he executed and has given the state of Alabama and the city of Birmingham just a marvelous world-class facility. And it features on today's Carfax Track Facts. Townsend, say that 3 times over, please. Fast.
We'll try that off air.
All right, let's talk on the pit lane. It's where our Steve Matchett used to live in the world of Formula One. What did you see with a recent stop that affected this young man, Steve?
Well, let's have a look at this 67 Joseph Newgarden pit stop here and see this confusion. This guy right here on the right front is going to wave Joseph out, but look at this guy over here, still adjusting the front wing end plate at the end of the stop. Watch this, go, not really finished. And Joseph actually did the correct thing. What do you think, Townsend? Did the correct thing, saw what was happening and didn't jump?
I think Joseph saved not only a penalty for hitting a crew member, but a crew member from being run over.
Yeah.
And that's great heads-up driving by Joseph Newgarden. Not his mistake at all, just a ill-timed send from the right front guy who just didn't realize that the left front was adjusting, as you said, Steve.
And as you guys rightly said, it takes just a fraction of an error, something like that, and a position lost.
Well, remember last year it was very similar circumstances where there was some confusion that caused Joseph Newgarden to have an issue on pit lanes, miscommunication with his team with an air hose that was hooked on a crew member's leg. That was a great chance for him to win. He's still P2. As we see here on track, sorry, he's further back, but he's still in contention here on his pit stop strategy. But man, those are hard positions to get back on the track.
Graham Rahal at the head of this field, who still holds the honor and distinction of being the youngest winner. 2008 at St. Pete at just 19 years of age. And take a look at this. This was earlier today in the warm-up. Watch the guys on the front wing. Now they are doing a back-to-back comparison with front wing configuration, Steve. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Keep on counting.
Yeah, it's quite bizarre, wasn't it? Just
a little change there. All right, clear out. How much high was the reading? 2%.
Yeah. I don't believe they were actually doing a back-to-back low downforce run. When Graham asked how much higher was the reading, he's referring to the center of pressure data read, and it was clearly way off. Kelly, you can add.
Yeah, and there is Mr. Rahal himself, Mr. Rahal Sr., as I'm allowed to call him.
All right, let's get rolling. It is Rahal, Hinchcliffe at the front of this field. We see green. It's the end of the second full course caution at Barber Motorsports Park. Let's see who's got what. Kennard is in third, but there is a lap car in between. It's James Jakes from Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports, who was tangled up in that incident with Stefano Coletti.
Been a relatively long run behind that car, hasn't it? So just be careful of the temperatures and the tyres when you're making these moves.
Inside, Jack Hawksworth on Simon Pagenaud, and Luca Filippi is there to pick up the pieces.
Whoa!
Hawksworth runs wide.
Hawksworth made such a great move and then just let it run wide, Townsend.
Well, in order to make that move, he had to outbrake, as he's doing here on Charlie Kimball, and he just...
Montoya on Kimball. Montoya just slams Kimball twice.
Wow. Boy, well, Montoya is clearly not a happy camper today anyway, from those comments during his last pit stop. I don't care, guys, what you do. Just do whatever you want to the car.
Paul Tracy, wherever you are right now, you must be proud. That was a forceful move going forward.
Wow. That was a PT kind of move, for sure. Now, Newgarden gained positions there. Marco Andretti's on the run here. Charlie Kimball, who just got nailed twice, is falling back. He's got his hands full with that car.
Yeah. There's got to be damage on the car after that, right? I mean, there has to be.
The two Andretti Autosport guys are going at it here yet again. Ryan Hunter-Reay on the inside of Marco Andretti. Turn one, nice move.
And that move was set up in the previous corner when Marco was having a look upside. Kimball had to back out. That allowed Hunter-Reay to get a good run down the front straightaway.
Luca Filippi for CFH Racing. It's been a great day for that team. The new two-car team in 2015. Filippi is as high as 5th. Munoz on the inside of the 14 of Takuma Sato. Up front, this is it, first and second. Graham Rahal still has mirrors full of James Hinchcliffe. Hinch has not been able to do anything about Rahal.
Rahal last pit on lap 19. We're working lap 40 right now. There's been some yellow, but he's probably got about 4 or 5 laps here to try to build a gap before he makes his required stop.
If you're wondering where defending series champion is Will Power, he is well back in 18th place after being penalized. Now let's get up with it here as Kimball goes side by side with Jack Hawksworth, and then wait for it. Ooh. Hi, I'm Juan Montoya. Nice to meet you.
Well, Kimball was forced offline a little bit, and that opened the door for Montoya.
Check this out.
Yeah. I think Montoya kind of had the corner. You know, he had the room to drive up on the curb.
Well, I was suggesting there might have been damage to Kimball's car, but it was a piece of Montoya's car that went into the air.
This is from Will Power's view. Whoa! Oh,
wow.
That was good evasive action.
That's a big save. Who said there couldn't be any passing at Barber?
Yeah, well, James Hinchcliffe, who's running second, says, I just hope we don't have a processional race. It's been anything but.
Yeah.
Rahal may have edged out a little bit of ground on Hinch. Down to more than half a second now.
I think Hinch lost the time. His tyres were in great condition earlier on, Townsend, to make that move, and you could see Hinch was desperate to make the move on Rahal, but Rahal wouldn't allow it to happen, and now that edge seems to have gone off. The performance has gone off of those tyres on Hinchcliffe's car.
So word from race control that incident, that pass, if you wish, that collision between Juan Pablo Montoya and Charlie Kimball is under review. Townsend, are you surprised we haven't heard anything yet about the Stefano Coletti-James Jakes incident down in P5?
I'm very surprised, but he might luck out here as the officials are now focused on a completely different issue. I think Montoya could have gotten away with the first one, but the second one,
like
debatable.
It was like a hip check on the way out, wasn't it?
Yes. I suspect Mr. Montoya is somewhat frustrated today.
Well, we talked about it in the pre-race. Montoya, historically, one of the lowest finishers in terms of relative to where he starts the race. Can he overcome those stats today? He's currently running in 8th. He's on a good strategy. Last pitted on lap 28. He'd be the first person on that strategy if it plays out, Lee.
Here is the lead Chevrolet driver, Tony Kanaan. He has 3 laps less fuel than the guys at the front, but he has been on a storm. Now we know that he's used up 9 of his 10 pushes to pass already, but considering the way that TK started, this has been a truly great comeback.
Well, it's a good point on his fuel strategy, because when he pits, we can effectively add 3 laps. That'll tell us when these two, Rahal and Hinchcliffe, will have to pit.
He's kind of on an island, Tony Kanaan, because of the guys around him have a lot more fuel, the likes of Bourdais, Felipe Pagenaud, the guys who are chasing him down for that spot.
You might remember last year James Hinchcliffe attended Space Camp. Well, this year he went and visited NASA's Marshall Space Center in nearby Huntsville, Alabama. He told me it was so awesome. I'm such a nerd. I think few people have a cooler job than me, and most of them are in that building. And he was presented with a special ratchet by the Director of Science and Technology there, Dr. Corky Clinton, who happens to be a huge Indy racing fan. He's been to 39 of the last 40 Indy 500s. He's here today, and James said it was pretty cool that this rocket scientist could rattle off Hinch's resume off the top of his head.
That is a cool story.
Yeah, it is.
Very good, and a nice way to start the racing week. And I don't know, I'm scratching my head to wonder when the last time we saw 2 Hondas 1-2 this year.
Well, I think it's a breath of fresh air for these guys, because they're doing it on performance. They're doing it on consistency of lap time.
Bourdais in the background dropped a wheel off. He's being chased down by Luca Filippi. This is the fight for 4th place, and enter Simon Pagenaud. This is what happened to Bourdais. We ride with the Frenchman.
Ugh. Well, the lift kills you on the straightaway, and look at the grass and the debris and the dust on the tyres, Townsend, which is going to take the performance away. When you see that ahead of you, that is the moment you've really got to pounce, isn't it?
Yeah, and one of the issues that Bourdais had in the warm-up is they were blistering the inside shoulder of the left side tires, so they made some camber adjustments. I didn't see any evidence of that issue in the onboard there. But Bourdais going to have to keep it mistake-free here to stay ahead of these two, Philippi and Pagenaud.
Yeah.
Just watching here.
In comes Pagenaud. And here is TK as well.
You're straight in, stop at the side.
As Tony Kanaan, who was running third, comes in, he's going to get off those red alternate tires and go to the black primaries. He was really unhappy with the car to begin with, but hasn't said much on the radio as late, Marty.
Kelly, Simon Pagenaud has not been unhappy with his car. He actually has been fairly happy with it. The problem is they got caught by that caution. He puts on sticker red tires, heads back out on the racetrack and see where he cycles out. But they're battling track position with that 22 car all day long.
Yeah, bad pit stop there for Pagenaud, wasn't it there? You aim to get the tires changed before the fueler has disconnected the coupling around 8 seconds, but there certainly was a problem with the right rear on Pagenaud's pit stop, which caused a delay getting out.
It's a breath of fresh air for Graham Rahal. He only led 2 races last year, so he's in the groove. And Townsend, I imagine when you're in this position, and it's somewhat rare because you haven't done it for quite a while, you're really capitalizing. You're enjoying your time in clean air out front.
Well, but he knows here that...
Couple laps, give it all you got.
He knows that these laps are critical. These laps, when Tony Kanaan pitted, these laps are going to determine the rest of the race. Graham Rahal's got one more stop after the one coming up, and he's in a great chance to win today.
Rahal, Hinchcliffe, Bourdais, Philippi, Hawksworth in the top 5. Montoya, Newgarden, Castro Neves, Dixon and Kimball. What a nightmare day it has been for Will Power, the defending series champion, considering he started on the front row, made a reasonable start, but look at this. Early in the race, Joseph Newgarden, side by side, strong move, and then he loses another spot. His tyres were going away in the early stint in this race. Sebastian Bourdais got by him, and then this is the reason why he was penalised with a drive-through. Check it out.
Yeah, nothing subtle, wasn't it? I think Power was well aware of what was happening and tried to make the move, tried to get a good pit stop. It didn't work out for him.
And look at this. Wow.
Grip, what grip?
And guys, did you happen to notice who the guy he avoided just then? Takuma Sato. Again, it could have been 2 collisions with the AJ Foyt guy. All right, race leader is in. Graham Rahal. Great run from both he and James Hinchcliffe.
Graham Rahal reporting that he's got some understeer in the slow speed corners. It's neutral in the high speed corners. He's going to get some sticker black tires. And Hawksworth is in as well.
Clear out, clear out.
Jack Hawksworth goes from sticker reds to scuff reds, Sunoco fuel, and a pretty good run that's worked out well with the strategy, has cycled him up at the top 10, but he's going to need some more luck to finish there.
Rahal released. All right, there's just one stop left to go for Graham Rahal. Meanwhile, Pagenaud, Kanaan, they're at it again. Hawksworth rejoins the racing surface behind them.
Several different strategies here. It'll be very interesting as everybody gets through their last round of pit stops to see where they slot in.
Yeah. Good pit stop for Rahal. Crew worked well, nice and controlled.
And look at Pagenaud is just giving Kanaan all kinds of trouble.
Yeah.
Hinchcliffe is coming to pit lane right now. Tell us more, Kelly.
Who had taken over the lead, reporting a little bit loose on entry. He's going to go to some scuffed reds, so he will remain with those alternate tires for James Hinchcliffe, who has been a little bit frustrated by the speed of these Hondas, but he's going to come out. We'll see how he cycles through with the 15 of Graham Rahal.
There's Rahal in the background. Here comes Rahal down the main straight. Will it be close between Hinch and Graham Rahal? Rahal up to speed. Hinch being released now. It might be James Hinchcliffe. Look at this. Rahal on the inside. Hinchcliffe does it.
Clear,
boom.
Clear.
As close as that.
Wow.
And Graham Rahal was stuck behind Francesco Draconi, and he's got to be frustrated.
Absolutely. As we've just been saying, Rahal's pit stop was good. You could not fault the crew. Tires and fuel were delivered. Look at this.
Round the outside goes Graham Rahal and makes it stick.
A power move on hot tires.
Exactly the corner where Hinchcliffe was complaining about Rahal. Graham executes a very savvy pass. I wonder what Dad thought about that. Yeah, go to the front. Now, Bobby, interestingly enough, removed himself from the pit box this year. Not on the radio, not in Graham's ear, instead being a spectator. His son's doing well.
Some fantastic racing on the track. On the right side of your screen, our championship leader Juan Montoya hits pit road. He had the contact earlier with Charlie Kimball. Needless to say, it has been an eventful day for our championship leader. This should cycle everyone through Lee, and finally everyone's pitted on this cycle.
Yeah, Montoya stayed out, led a lap, got that bonus point. It has been a tough day for JPM though. Now it sets up some great racing with a group of 10 cars all on the same strategy, all with the same fuel load. Jake's on the inside of Draconi. Draconi, during the break, was making life incredibly hard for James Hinchcliffe. Hinch has since cleared him. By the way, I want to update you that Stefano Coletti has served a drive-through penalty for that contact with James Jakes.
Francesco Draconi is causing issues, not just for Hinchcliffe, but everybody that's trying to get by. I believe Draconi got a little too racy for being a lap down here with these guys that are much faster coming through. But Steve, at this track, there's very little place to hide.
No, you can't do that. I mean, you want to move out of the way, but he was certainly not doing anybody any favors. On board, Tony Kanaan.
Right, so listen to these names. Pick out your favorite driver. Newgarden, Castro Neves, Dixon, Hunter-Reay, Andretti, Chavez, Munoz, Sato, Power, and Gonzalez. All stopped on the same lap. We've got several different groups out there. Then you go to Rahal, who has a lap less fuel than Hinchcliffe. Coletti's on different strategy. And then you go back to the others like the likes of Kanaan and Pagenaud. Whose strategy is going to work out the best here at Barber Motorsports Park? I think it's been a pretty good day in general for Sebastian Bourdais.
Oh, it's been terrific. It's been on the back of a nice, consistent pace and what appears to be a very good race car setup. As we watch everybody behind Pagenaud there, and Philippi's still trying to get by Draconi.
While we're in the break, you may have noticed Bourdais and Luca Filippi did pit at the same time. Great work from the KV Racing Technologies team to get Bourdais out ahead of Filippi, so no position lost there. But a lot of track position lost here for Filippi.
Well, it's one thing to get close, but you have such a wake there as the trailing car, as Draconi still does not yield.
No.
And that'll be at least a second or two lost just in that one move for Filippi on the other cars he's racing with ahead. At some point, race control has to intervene here and display the blue flag back up front.
This is second and third. This is first, second and third. There's 1.3 seconds between Joseph Newgarden, Helio Castroneves and Scott Dixon running in third. Ryan Hunter-Reay is up to fourth and Marco Andretti up to fifth. Can you believe, or wouldn't it be something, if that yellow car right at the very back of that picture, Ryan Hunter-Reay was able to finish at least in the top 5 after starting 18th. That would be remarkable.
It really would be a remarkable achievement. And as well, you know, thinking about Scott Dixon here, Lee, Scott Dixon, the car seems to be handling well now, but earlier on, Dixon was complaining about the car, didn't like the way the car was handling at all with understeer and oversteer, but he seems to have it now.
Well, watch this. Even though Helio Castroneves won out due to that pit stop issue with Joseph Newgarden, Newgarden is making that corner his own. That's exactly where he put a move on Will Power early in the race, and that's what he did again to Helio Castroneves. That's slick.
Lee, if you're going to win today, it's going to be on the back of a move like that. That was just exceptional racecraft from Joseph Newgarden.
Inside is Scott Dixon, down into 5, not quite close enough. Helio has won here before. He's been on pole here before. He was on pole today. This track has been good to the man in the AAA Chevrolet. Dixon, this has been a source of frustration, Marty, for him, hasn't it?
Never won here, but he's never also finished off the podium here either. So his worst finish here is third. Scott Dixon on the radio talking about his battle with Helio Castroneves, and he's not been very happy with Helio Castroneves. A couple of laps ago, earlier, he said he blocked me twice in one corner. He asked race officials to look at that, and they deemed it they would just warn Helio Castroneves. So Scott Dixon a little frustrated riding behind that 3 car.
And guys, in the last lap, Newgarden has laid down a second, even more on these guys. Joseph Newgarden is now 2.6 seconds out in front.
And with each lap, Hunter-Reay is getting closer to Dixon.
Beautiful effort. We were talking about it just a few moments ago from Andretti Autosport. 2 of the biggest movers of the race. Carlos Munoz up 16 positions. This man on screen in the DHL Honda, Ryan Hunter-Reay up 14. Massive effort.
Here's Hunter-Reay closing down on the back of Dixon. But I think Dixon, Townsend, the car seems absolutely rejuvenated. It's really closing in. Now it's incredible.
But you remember back from Long Beach, Castroneves was very subtle and creative with his line while leading, with guys like Pagenaud charging from behind. This is what 17 years of IndyCar experience can give you. You might not have the fastest car at a certain day, but you can certainly learn how to keep somebody behind you as we watch these 2 teammates battle it out. That's Marco Andretti and Carlos Munoz.
Been a pretty spirited run too from Marco. He's put on some good moves a couple of times on his teammate. Now he's got another teammate in young Carlos Munoz behind. It's been a pretty quiet year for Munoz in general, and this weekend hasn't been all that great either. In his own words, he just hasn't felt in the groove here.
Hard next day, you're 6 away.
Will Power cruises on through. Gabby Chavez, Takuma Sato, then Graham Rahal. Finally, Dixon's by. Dixon gets by Helio Castroneves. He's been reporting on the radio. When I get close to him, I just can't execute the move. Finally, he's done it.
Still the number.
A lot of that, Lee, I think, down to the turbulent air washing off the car and affecting the front wing. But here it is.
Up and over the hill.
Yeah.
You do not see too many moves there.
Well, he was just able to sneak his nose in coming off of turn 2. Castroneves knew he was there, and now he's gone.
Yeah.
Look at the gap back.
Incredible.
So Dixon begins the chase. Keep this number in mind. 3.1 seconds is the deficit to Joseph Newgarden. You know something I forgot to mention?
The rear tires are going away.
Tyres are going away is the call from Tony Kanaan in the background. Did you notice the new bridge here at Barber Motorsports Park from the amazing museum across to the infield? Some 460 feet in length. Mr. George Barber just continues to make improvements to this circuit and facility all the time.
And when he makes an improvement, as we watch these two guys battle, George Barber doesn't just build a bridge, he builds a bridge that could support tractor trailers going across it, not just pedestrians. The quality here is unbelievable as Hinchcliffe is side by side with Gonzalez.
Rodolfo Gonzalez making his Verizon IndyCar Series debut this weekend. The Venezuelan, whoa, and he's not yielding to Hinch one little bit.
Now on the inside.
Exiting turn 5, look at this run.
Boy, they're close.
Yeah. And who's bravest? Who backs
Whoa!
up first?
Wow, 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 wow. Good gracious, that gives a fantastic idea of the speed, doesn't it?
If you can last in GP2, you're not bad, and that's Rodolfo Gonzalez. He's got many starts in GP2, sports cars, open wheel formula. It's been a lifetime dream for him to race in IndyCar. Through on James Chase goes Bourdais. Bourdais now hassling Hinch.
On board with Bourdais as he works the backside of the course, coming to the front straightaway. And the balance, just watching his hands here as he goes through the final 2 corners, the balance is so smooth. A little bit of a correction there, but he seems very confident, and he's got such a consistent race car.
Yeah, where's that fluid coming from on the camera lens there?
I think that's just a little condensation. Obviously rained yesterday.
No, I wonder whether or not it was just something coming back from the car ahead, but maybe not.
Last time round, Scott Dixon in clear air took 0.8 of a second out of Joseph Newgarden. Here comes the Iceman. What an enjoyable Verizon IndyCar Series race here at Barber Motorsports Park as you ride with Sebastian Bourdais, working on Rodolfo Gonzalez, making his IndyCar Series debut. Gonzalez is not scared by any of the big names around him. This has been incredible. It has been wild. I know you just saw it at home, but let's relive it. Look to the right of your screen. Watch the green car there. Sebastian Bourdais up on the grass, holds onto it, gets it back on the racing surface, and still in the fight.
Well, Lee, you said it. GP2 is where Rodolfo Gonzalez cut his teeth. He is absolutely not intimidated by anyone. Bourdais seems to be much faster, but Gonzalez is doing a great job to hang on to the position.
All right. Let's talk a little bit of...
He's only got a couple laps before he has to pit.
I'm sure that was the communication to Sebastian Bourdais. Not to get into anything you don't need to, because Gonzalez will be out, but Bourdais got him. Nice. Slick move there. That was pretty easy. Let's talk some strategy. Let's talk some fuel numbers, because Newgarden, Dixon, Castro Neves, Hunter-Reay, Power, Andretti, and Munoz are all on the same number. The best, the guy who's in the best shape at the moment is Graham Rahal. More fuel than anyone, and who's going to make it to that last line to be the first to pit last and be good for home.
We think the leaders right now have to stretch it to about lap 65, Marty, to hang on. I know they've been saving fuel as Kanaan is all over the back of Pagenaud, riding the Bronco.
And you're going to see a lot of teams pit right now, actually, Townsend. So that means they'll really have to stretch it, including Helio Castroneves, trying to get all the way home from this lap. He's going to pit this lap.
Oh, did you see that?
Did you see Pagenaud try to drive Gonzalez off the road? Pagenaud is furious.
And Tony Kanaan almost got into the back of it. Bottom of screen, Castroneves is in.
Just so much going on, Lee. The action on the left, pit stops on the right. Helio will be the first one to come to pit road. Those sticker red tires going on for Castroneves. They're waiting. Roger Penske says, wait for me. And actually, Roger said go. It took a second for Helio to actually get off pit road. We'll see where he cycles out, and if pitting early will help him.
Oh, that second's going to cost him dear, I think, right here.
Right alongside Jack Hawksworth, Sage Karam on the inside.
That 1 second, Townsend, that would have got him ahead of Hawksworth coming out of pit lane.
Oh, Karam looking around the outside.
And what Castroneves did not do is swerve straight to the apex like his teammate Power did earlier. Now this is interesting, guys. There's 28 laps to go for Castroneves. He might need some yellow to last that long, and Newgarden, I understand, is on pit lane.
Yeah, that is a long run. That is a long run to get to the checkered.
Race leader is on, Marty. This has been a super day from Joseph Newgarden and CFH Racing.
It's been a fantastic day for Joseph Newgarden. I talked to Sarah Fisher a moment ago, and she said, I don't think we can make it lap 65. So indeed, they come in on lap 64, a little bit longer on the right front there, trying to get that tire on. Newgarden leads with those sticker red tires.
All right, push, Joseph, get out
Ryan
now.
Hunter-Reay also coming down, Lee, and having a fantastic day, just absolutely muscling this car. He said, I'm getting mauled out here at one point. The car just not handling to his liking. They make a little bit of an adjustment, but sticker red tires on for Ryan Hunter-Reay.
What a frantic race.
Wow, he's right. Incredible.
Wheel three.
Right, so now you look at the others in better shape, getting closer to that magical number. Marco Andretti released as we race lap 64 of 90. And we are expecting Scott Dixon to come in next.
And Scott Dixon clearly making the best fuel mileage of that whole group. He went one lap farther. That's critical, Marty.
And a lot of that, Townsend, was because he was riding behind Helio Castroneves for so long. Graham Rahal, the leader right now. You see Scott Dixon coming down very slowly. Key pit stop here for the 19. They would love to beat Helio Castroneves off and not have to worry about that traffic. It's going to be a combination of sticker and scuffed red tires for Scott Dixon. There goes Graham Rahal by. Let's see where Scott Dixon will cycle out after he gets the Sunoco fuel. See where he finds himself on the racetrack once he gets on the track.
Let's have a look where Helio Castroneves is in the background. Scott Dixon's going to be just fine. Comes out of the pits.
Just ahead of Bourdais.
Yep. So no worries, because he'd gapped Castroneves substantially earlier, went further on the fuel, which is just characteristic of Scott Dixon.
Graham Rahal's your leader. Hinchcliffe is running in third. For that to work, Rahal's going to pray for no yellow.
Oh! Hunter-Reay on the outside of Sage Karam.
Ran me off the track.
Boy, you got that right, son.
Karam now gets into Jack Hawksworth.
What on earth?
We might be seeing a warning coming for Sage Karam. He is working his way to the front. The young American, take no prisoners.
Taking no prisoners for sure.
Well, he wants to be the next American hero. He just ran Captain America off the racetrack.
It wasn't so long ago that Pagenaud was complaining of being run off the racetrack by Hunter Ray.
Let's check it out. And Hunter Ray, as he's working his way through on Jack Hawksworth, get out of my way. I want to get back up with that kid.
Boy, that's exactly what it was, Lee, wasn't it? It just absolutely straight past him, and on we go.
Check it out. Sage Karam in the black and red car, the Comfort Revolution machine.
Boy, how quickly the tables can turn. Guys, at New Orleans, it was Hunter Ray on the inside with Pagenaud forcing it to the outside. Hunter Ray said, I didn't deserve a penalty for doing that. Pagenaud put himself in a bad situation. Exactly the same situation now with Hunter Ray.
Kev?
Jack Hawksworth making his final stop. He'll be a little bit better on fuel than those that just came in. He'll get Sunoco fuel and his final Firestone tire stint as well. Not been the day he's wanted, but Hawksworth trying to salvage something out of it. And this one is not going well either.
Big problems, but it looks like the
And this just kills any chance to be under green flag conditions and have a stop that long.
You're clear, clear out.
How unfortunate. How unfortunate.
It's not going to work out. Let's take a look at this. Sage Karam bump on Jack Hawksworth. Look, I know it's not going to work out for Hawksworth today position-wise or result-wise, but from what he has demonstrated driving-wise, it's been a much better day than the early rounds.
On board with Graham Rahal. That's Hawksworth ahead of him, having just come in and had that terribly slow pit stop because some problem on the right rear, whether it was I assume that the air gun wasn't working correctly.
And the goal here for Hawksworth is drive as fast as you can, burn as much fuel, don't go a lap down. If yellow comes out, he'll go right to the back of the pack and have a chance again to work his way through the field, but right now he's hanging on for dear life.
Let's talk more RHR. Here's Marty.
And guys, as you'd imagine, the team not very happy with the contact on the racetrack from Mr. Karam. In fact, Rob Edwards called IndyCar officials over and said he deserves a penalty for that. You just had the argument a moment ago, and Ryan Hunter-Reay not very happy on the radio either, with Mr. Karam kind of making his way through the field at his own leisure.
That's Rob Edwards right there, formerly of Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports.
Well, and I think the reason Rob is so animated is because the penalty they received at New Orleans in the same situation. Frankly, I see it as a racing incident, just like I did at New Orleans. I didn't think Hunter-Reay deserved the penalty. And I wouldn't think, for the Pagenaud incident, I wouldn't think that Sage deserves a penalty here, but if you're going to be consistent, I think you got to look at it.
New record, incidentally, today at Barber Motorsports Park for the Verizon IndyCar Series as far as leaders, as we see Montoya on pit road. 8 leaders, surpassing the previous record of 6. Marty?
Lee, it's been a rough weekend for our championship leader. They never could find a good setup. Actually had to take a combination of his 3 teammates' setup to come up with what he's running today, and it's just never been very good. He kept saying that entire run, something is broken on the car. There's something dragging. You see him once again lose a wheel nut on the right front. That took a while to get the right front on. Montoya having a very, very frustrating day behind the wheel.
Boy, yeah, right front problems again, Monty. Couldn't really see what it was. It's not that the mechanic lost the nut this time, just didn't really have the wheel in position on the studs on the upright.
So, as we stand, Graham Rahal has almost a 4-second lead over Joseph Newgarden, but Newgarden will have to preserve fuel to make it to the end, or he's going to need some yellow. We look behind Newgarden. Hinchcliffe has 1 lap more on fuel than Rahal does. Those 2 guys can go on full attack mode as we climb on board with Hinch. Dixon is the next one in the order as Kanaan comes to pit road. And Dixon too may need a little bit of help to get to the end.
Tony Kanaan, who has run as high as 3rd, 7th as he cycles through on the pit stop. He didn't ask for any adjustments. They'll go to sticker blacks, those primary tires for Tony Kanaan, and some Sunoco fuel to top him off.
Both Ganassi cars released, Kanaan and Kimball.
Wheel 1 to the end.
Charlie's been in the thick of it today too with Montoya. Yeah. Boy, that was hairy. Heading down into the museum complex.
Kanaan out, good clean pit stop. As for Kimball too, no problems there. Run to the end.
Yep, final stop for those guys. Yeah. Let's bring it on home. I love this camera shot. Let's take a ride and listen. Novolog Flex Pen onboard camera with Charlie Kimball giving us that great view. All right, let's tick off a few more for the final stop. Bourdais and Pagenaud, here we go.
Sebastian Bourdais, who is on those red alternates, will go back to prime sticker black tires. No adjustments for Sebastian Bourdais, Marty.
For his fellow Frenchman Simon Pagenaud, it has been a frustrating day because the car has really not been that bad. They just cannot get the track position he needs. They got called out by the yellow early on, so he also very frustrated behind the wheel. Will have his last stint here on some sticker reds.
Yeah, beautiful stop as well there. The problem for the teams, the pressure mounts. The later you push the car into the stint, the less time the fuel nozzle needs to be connected onto the car. Typically, you have a cushion of around 8 seconds. If you put less fuel in the car, you connect it for a smaller amount of time, and that puts a lot more pressure on the wheel guys to make sure they beat the refueler before he pulls the nozzle clear. Here comes Rahal.
Race leader is in. Is this the day that Graham Rahal finally wins another one? His only victory back in 2008.
Only about 22 laps for Graham Rahal on that stint, Kelly.
And what a win it would be for Graham Rahal, who will finish this race on sticker red tires. We saw some great battles between he and his teammate James Hinchcliffe, who's also coming in for his what should be his final service. It was a clean stop for the 15.
Good stop, good stop.
Get the drive around these guys. You got more fuel, better tires.
You got more fuel, you got better tires. Let's get at it.
Absolutely.
Let's go and get that victory. We'll see if he can do it. He's come out behind Castro Neves, Dixon, Hunter-Reay, and Power.
And look at Will Power after a drive-through penalty back into the top 5, still in contention.
Unbelievable. You got more fuel and you got better tires. You've just got some of the biggest names in the sport to get by.
But the question is going to be, how much fuel can this guy hang on to, the 67?
We saw Scott Dixon pull off a miracle at Mid-Ohio last year, last to first and saving fuel. What can Newgarden do today? You're watching IndyCar Live on NBCSN. Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, Steve Matchett, Marty Snyder, Kelly Stavis, Kevin Lee, and Robin Miller with you. What a day we've had in Alabama. Beautiful day, warm temperatures and hot action. You may have noticed this during the break. Graham Rahal did get by Will Power, but wasn't cleanly. It didn't look like it.
Let's watch Graham Rahal draft up behind of Power, and it looks like that left front end fence just gets into the rear right wheel pod. See it from a different angle.
Look, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen.
There it is. And that's one of the things you have to adjust to year with the body kits, guys. The size of the front wing is much larger. Knowing where to judge the distance is very difficult.
And guys, here's the dilemma for Ryan Hunter-Reay. He's trying to save fuel, trying to keep Graham Rahal behind him, but the team just told him on the radio, we'd rather finish 5th, let Graham go if you feel like you need to, rather than running out of fuel at the end of the race, because he's got to hit that number or they're not going to make it these final 16 laps.
And here is the challenge for Graham Rahal in the Steak and Shake machine. He is now 20 seconds behind race leader Joseph Newgarden. There's a 6-second gap between first and second. We don't have 20 laps left. He's got to make up more than a second a lap to get up with Newgarden.
Yeah, Graham Rahal's problem now is he keeps getting up right onto the gearbox of Ryan Hunter-Reay right here, and then in the corners, all that turbulent air washes over the front wing of Graham Rahal and takes the front downforce away. Townsend, what do you do? How do you make the move?
Or must be, because he's a lot quicker down the straight than us.
Yeah. I think there might have been a conversation about downforce levels. That would be my guess, because Rahal referenced Hunter-Reay's speed down the straight, or perhaps Hunter-Reay's fuel position and how much fuel he's burning. And this could be an issue. This is Joseph Newgarden coming up on Draconi. Now, I made a mistake earlier. Draconi was on the lead lap.
Time to check in with our Chevy driver update, which gives us a look at the top Chevy drivers in today's race so far. Pretty easy to see there. Joseph Newgarden first, Dixon second, Castro Neves third. And we know that there has been a very strong performance from the Bowtie Bunch in 2015 in the Verizon IndyCar Series. Joseph Newgarden, who hails from Henderson, Tennessee, only 3 hours away, could be, might be, maybe on his way to his very first Verizon IndyCar Series win.
Well, he's drove exceptionally well so far, hasn't he? Really, right from the start of this race. You could see Newgarden doing great stuff, taking the fight to the cars ahead of him. And has been masterly, I would say, Townsend, all the way through.
Well, and he's 27 laps on this stint. If he does make it to the finish, have to think that they think they're okay on fuel if he's keeping that sort of lead. Any updates on pit lane regarding fuel with Newgarden, guys?
Indeed, they are thinking they're okay, Townsend. I talked to the team a moment ago, and they said we do not need any cautions to make it all the way. So they are firmly believing they can make it all the way on fuel. We'll try to get a word with Sarah Fisher here in a moment just to confirm that.
I just got a slap from Russ Thompson, our statistician, who's from Tennessee, and he said he's from Hendersonville, not Henderson. I did mean Hendersonville. This is going to be a thriller. This is going to be very interesting at the end. Not only for Graham Rahal trying to work his way through, he is closer to Newgarden big picture wise, but still has his hands full right here.
It's where to make the move. The problem is that all that turbulent air flowing off the back of the car ahead.
It's so hard to follow in these cars. You lose so much grip.
Yeah, exactly that. You get so close, the turbulent air falls off the rear wing of the car ahead, and then the front wing is running in spoiled air, turbulent air. You have no downforce, and then you get understeer on the car.
You ever been accused of being a mind reader, Steve?
Yeah, we copied that.
Here's our race leader, Joseph Newgarden, and the gap to Dixon has come down, albeit slightly, to under 6 seconds to 5.8, and Dixon is in second, yes, yet again. Remember the big picture with Dixon, last weekend's winner in Long Beach. He has finished second here 4 times. Surely not, he can't be second 5 times. He's been on the podium every appearance here at Barber Motorsports Park. It's just one that's got away from him every year. Frustratingly so.
Yeah, Scott Dixon's fight back in this race has been very, very impressive to me, because in the opening stanza of the race, as you remember, Lee, he really wasn't very happy with the car at all.
Exactly. Now, the pressure is on this 24-year-old American. Marty, the big question for one of his co-team owners is, does he have enough fuel? Can he do it? Can he get there?
Well, let's chat with Sarah Fisher, who is, I would say, visibly nervous. First of all, Sarah, can you make it all the way on fuel for sure?
Yeah, I mean, we're watching that, but these guys have done a good job of taking a look at that and making sure we're safe.
How about the job he's done behind the wheel today, Sarah?
You know, Joseph has done a fantastic job for the whole time that we've had him, and it's just been awesome to work with him and to see him be in the spot, and just hopefully we can pull it off.
All right, a little bit of nerves down here, I will tell you. They have a huge lead, but will the fuel hold out, and can he hold on to the car? Those are the big questions, Lee.
Oh, and what about last year when he was fighting the man who's chasing him, Scott Dixon, at Mid-Ohio? We thought that was the day. Then go back to Brazil a couple of years ago. We thought that was the day that was going to be Newgarden's victory. We've seen it even at Long Beach last year with he and Hunter Ray and Hinchcliffe. They've been so close, but yet so far. Newgarden, is he on the way to victory? We can answer that question for Sarah Fisher and the team in about 12 laps. Stick around. NBCSN is your home of motorsport, and we switch gears to talk about Formula One in a 3-week break at the moment. However, you can catch the Spanish Grand Prix, after those opening flyaway races. We head to Spain, May 10th on NBCSN Live. That championship's alive. This race is very much alive. Newgarden has extended his lead to 7.3 seconds, but you can see there that Graham Rahal has not only passed but cleared Ryan Hunter-Reay, and now the pressure is on Helio Castroneves. This is for a spot on the podium.
The pressure will be on big time here for Castroneves as Rahal has all the fuel that he wants to use. A little bit fresher on the tires for sure, and he made a great move on Hunter-Reay during the break, powering around the outside like he did earlier at turn 5.
There has been some spectacular driving today, some good moves. There's also been some awkwardness. We've had a little bit of everything. But let's relive the pass on Hunter-Reay for Graham Rahal. He's been good at turn 5 today.
Oh, terrific, and he just has such great spatial awareness in terms of where Hunter-Reay's right front tire is, Steve, as he works around the outside to pull it off. And he's got no push to pass left. He has to do this totally on racecraft.
Yeah, doing it all on his own.
That is beautiful.
It really is.
I'm not sure if it was Eddie Jones, his race engineer, or his strategist, Ricardo Nolte, said on the radio, okay, I'm impressed. And he's going to do it again! Rahal is doing it again to Helio Castroneves, but Helio fights back. Wheel to wheel, Rahal does it again.
Graham Rahal is showing the field. This is how you pass at Barber. That is for a podium finish, and boy, that would be a huge boost to this team, who's had a great start to the season relative to previous years.
I've got to say it, Steve. I know you'll say it. Townsend, you will. Marty, everybody. Kev, anyone who knows Graham Rahal. We've been waiting for this Graham Rahal for some time. This is what his championship winning and legendary father thinks of it. Fantastic. How about the crew? Yeah,
the crew like that too. Yeah, and Graham Rahal is absolutely doing everything in that car, working the steering wheel. Great to pick this onboard shot.
Keep the pressure on, so you really have to save some fuel. Maybe you'll catch him.
Yeah, keep the pressure on, but you really are throwing that car into the corners, and it is very, very, very impressive to watch.
He's 17 seconds behind race leader Joseph Newgarden. He's 11 seconds behind, make it 10, behind Scott Dixon.
Yeah. Boy, the gap that Rahal opened up on Castroneves straight after that pass.
And guys, as it runs right now, if we finished in this order, we would have 2 Americans on a road course podium and 3 in the top 5. Robin, how does that make you feel?
Everybody up and down the pits is walking around saying, you know, we've been waiting on American stars to break through. This is what we need, so people will pay attention, and newspapers all over the country. Newgarden got hosed last year on a bad pit stop, and guess what? He didn't throw a tantrum. He took it like a man. He's overdue for a win. Graham Rahal was in the Fast Six all the time. He won his first race ever. He's gone into a 2-year slump. This is exactly what this series needs to get back on the map. You got to have American heroes, and young American heroes are even better.
Well said. Well said.
All right, 7 laps to go. Leader's doing 72 zeros.
All right, Rahal has sliced another 1.5 seconds off that overall lead.
Lee, last lap, Graham Rahal was 2 seconds quicker than Newgarden. 7 laps to go. You never know. He might have a chance to get close.
Quick reminder, as you see on screen there, you can be a part of Honda's fastest seat in sports sweepstakes. Rahal's Honda seat's pretty fast. ShopHonda.com to sign up. No purchases necessary.
And right now, guys, these are qualifying laps. You see that Firestone telemetry in the upper left. There is no fuel saving, Steve.
No.
Everything you can give me, kid, for 7 laps. Go get them.
Corner by corner by corner, you've got to push, son, and you've got to push like there is no tomorrow. I mean, Newgarden is driving a fantastic race, but what young Rahal has been able to do here in these closing laps of the race is absolutely remarkable stuff. Look at the gap to 3rd.
Yeah, he's left these guys. Castroneves, Honda Ray Power. That's a good comeback. We should give more praise to Will. He's done a nice job in the Verizon Chevrolet. Munoz is up to 7th. Hinchcliffe has dropped to 8th. Bourdais 9th, and Simon Pagenaud in the top 10. On board, the defending champ.
This is what Will Power was hoping for at Long Beach in terms of coming back from a bad circumstance. He wasn't able to do it there, but he had the drive-through penalty today, and he's come back strong. Kevin, he's flirting with the top 5 finish.
He still might be able to get that 5th position ahead of him and Ryan Hunter-Reay, because they've been saving hard, but the idea is save enough, be able to push the last lap or two, so there might be something left. What a turnaround. Tim Cindric had to spend a little bit of time just calming his driver down, Lee.
Kev, you remember 2 laps ago I said, remember this number, 17.1 seconds from 1st to 3rd. Newgarden to Rahal, it's 12.1. Rahal has gouged 5 seconds out of the lead.
And every segment, Lee, Rahal's gap is dropping heavily. 2 seconds that last lap. He is going for it, and Joseph is trying to hang on to fuel along with this guy, Scott Dixon, in 2nd place.
And now,
wow!
Whoa!
Wow!
Here he comes! Here he comes!
You're catching him.
Get after him, son! Get after him!
Another second that lap. It's down to 11 point. It's down to 10.6. Make it.
Don't let him get away. Do not let him get away now. Keep the pressure on. Corner after corner after corner. You know this track. You can do this, son.
We heard Sarah Fisher say, well, they tell me that we have enough fuel. They might have enough fuel, but they're going to have to go very slow to the finish, it looks like. Last lap for Newgarden, a 12.9. Rahal was a 10.1, almost 3 seconds quicker.
The team told Graham Rahal, go get him. You've got enough fuel and you've got better tires. What a drive.
Yeah, it is. It is a great drive.
9.4 seconds. He is just slicing the seconds away.
And these tyres, Lee, the tyres look good. They look stable. There's no understeer on the car. Watch Rahal working the steering wheel. He's not seesawing at it.
Well,
Townsend, it looks smooth, doesn't it?
We talked about earlier how the Honda seemed to be taking better care of those rear tires, and it's paying off now.
Up front, Newgarden's lead is 4.6 seconds, but the gap back to third is 8.4. More seconds go flying out the way for Joseph Newgarden. This young man who had hopes and aspirations of being a Formula One driver. Hey, that still may come true with Haas F1 next year, who knows?
And Newgarden is running so lean right now. That last lap, 1:13.
Oh, lock-up, slight lock-up from Dixon. He knows there's pressure coming from behind, and he can't seem to do anything about Newgarden up front. 4.5 seconds from Newgarden to Dixon. It's only a couple of seconds back to Rahal.
Rahal's gap to the leader now 7 seconds, only 2 seconds, as you say to Scott Dixon. We don't need to count anymore. You can see it at home. They're right there.
4 to go. 4 to go for Joseph Newgarden.
And if I'm Joseph Newgarden, I'm asking, can I use some more fuel? How quick is Graham coming? Where am I to Scott Dixon? Joseph Newgarden's first win is right in front of him.
Yeah.
If he can hang on and make it to the line.
And you know the team are concerned about...
4.5 back to Dixie right now.
You know the team are concerned about fuel.
Well, and the biggest benefit for Newgarden is this guy, Scott Dixon.
Absolutely.
He is the buffer to keep Graham Rahal at bay.
3 laps left around this 2.3-mile circuit. Barber Motorsports Park. Is this the place that Joseph Newgarden will fall in love with forever? People have been asking. The 2011 Indy Lights champion, the former GP3 driver who went to Europe to chase his F1 dreams, sat on the pole at Hockenheim incidentally, and came home, landed an Indy Lights ride, and then stepped up to IndyCar. He's such a well-liked guy in the paddock, and people just like Graham Rahal have been saying, when's this guy going to perform to the level that we know? When can he do it? How can he do it? When will it happen? He's within 2.5 laps of being victorious.
And you can see the enthusiasm in the lower right. That's his father, Joey Newgarden, cheering him on.
It's tight throughout the field. There's been some tremendous, some colossal racing today. Hunter Ray, Power, they're still in the mix. Munoz, Hinchcliffe, Forday and Pagenaud, all fighting for top 10 spots. Incidentally, if things stay as is, Helio Castro Neves will be our new championship leader to the tune of 15 points. He'll turn a 2-point deficit into a 15-point lead.
And Steve, the tires have been well worked this race. You can see the large chunks that have been forming offline. It's not really marbles, they're like small boulders.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Townsend. They are on board, Graham.
Fight for second.
There's the car ahead. That's your next target, son, but you've got to get past him, and past him quick. We are running out of laps, 88 of 90.
And Graham wasn't close enough to make his turn 5 move. He will be probably this lap, but all the while this is helping Newgarden keep the gap to Dixon.
Inside is Rahal. Can he do it? Dixon's not making life easy.
No, he is not.
And we're running out of time. The laps are winding down. This is falling more and more into the favor of race leader Joseph Newgarden.
Work your way back, son. You've just lost all the downforce off your car there. You've got to get right back on the gearbox, get it in control again, pick your moment and have another stab of it. You're running out of time, but you know you can do it.
Last lap for Joseph Newgarden. He is just one lap away from his first IndyCar victory.
Graham won't have a chance here, but he will at turn 5. Now he's going to try to make that same move on the most experienced, one of them, most experienced drivers in the field. Scott Dixon is a master at keeping people at bay.
Here it is, here it is.
Remember, we're coming down into Rahal's strong point. Turn 5, he has been brilliant on the outside. Can he do it to last week's winner? No is the answer.
Couldn't do it, couldn't do it.
And there is our race leader. Some 4 seconds out in front on the final lap at Barber. Just got a report. We understand that Helio Castro Neves has run out of fuel.
Here it is!
Whoa!
Here it is! Here it is, Graham! It's yours if you want it!
And
that was fantastic. We thought that his only move was turn 5, but he just showed us he's got another trick in his bag.
But look at the gap within about 2 seconds. Look at the gap he's made.
Meanwhile, final 2 turns. We've got 2 young American stars in the top 2 positions. The wait is over. Joseph Newgarden is an IndyCar race winner. He takes out
Great job.
his home race. How about that at Barber Motorsports Park? Superb. Finally, Joseph Newgarden does it. Graham Rahal with a spirited and an excellent second. Dixon on the podium again. The winner eludes him. And we come to the line. And how about this for a comeback from Will Power? Crosses the line in 4th. Hunter Ray from 18th to 5th. And Carlos Munoz from the back of the pack as well. What a race. What a race, and one that we'll never forget for the 24-year-old American Joseph Newgarden.
Look at that, 2 Americans on a permanent road course in IndyCar at the top of the list. What a day for all these fans, and this kid especially. Marty?
Oh, the emotion is unbelievable. You've got Joey, you've got Tina, his girlfriend Ashley. Joey, the days you were taking him to Newcastle, he's 14 years old, putting him in a car, did you ever think this day would come?
Yes, I did. And here it is. Oh boy, we're just happy as could be. So we're proud of Joseph, and I want to cry, but I can't. So.
You can cry, it's okay. Tina, how were your nerves holding up at the end there?
I just kept praying, and I just know he wanted it so bad, and the passion that he has, he got it. Finally got the first win.
The only thing to say is he's just a real badass, you know? That's it.
There you go. And he took him to the go-kart track at Newcastle when he was 14 years old. Got a late start, but he is an IndyCar winner, Lee.
Awesome performance from Hendersonville, Tennessee's Joseph Newgarden. Look at that. He was asking himself, when was it going to happen? I spoke to him earlier in the weekend, and he said, I can't wait for it to happen. Well, Joseph Newgarden, you don't need to wait anymore. You're watching NBCSN's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by DA Lubricant Company. Performance engineered lubricants since 1919. Visit dalube.com. On the Senators in Game 6 of quarterfinal action. Canadiens, Senators up next here on NBCSN. Every game, every night. Don't miss a moment. Whew, didn't miss a moment in IndyCar racing. This was awesome. 4th different winner in as many starts, but a first-timer, Marty, Joseph Newgarden.
Joseph Newgarden, after all the trying, is an IndyCar winner, Lee. And I talked to him moments ago in the car, and I could see the tears of emotion in there. We'll let him do a little dismount here. Sorry, but I'm about ran over my cameraman Kevin. We'll let him celebrate with the crew as well. What an emotional day. So many tries to get to this point, and he's now an IndyCar winner. I've got to know from you, Joseph, what was going through your mind on those final few laps?
Oh, man, I'm so nervous. I can't tell you how nervous I was. I'm normally not in racing, but it's just been such a long time coming trying to do this. I mean, it's just, I can't believe now is when it happened. You know, I knew one of these days it was going to happen with this team. They're so solid. I just can't thank everyone enough that gave me an IndyCar drive. I mean, Wink Hartman, Sarah Fisher, Libba Hartman, Andy O'Gara. I mean, it's unbelievable what this has turned into. And now I've got Ed Carpenter in the group and Stewart and everyone that's involved. I mean, I wouldn't be here without all those guys. They really made me an IndyCar driver. It's so hard to become a professional driver nowadays, and they made me one. So just thankful to them, thankful to everyone on our car. Chevrolet was incredible. I mean, I could just get crazy fuel mileage today with fast pace, so Chevys just obviously are unbelievable cars. We're spanking the Hondas right now. So happy to be with those guys. They really took us under their wing. You know, everything else that we have, and we got great partners with Direct Supply. You got Firestone Tires, which are incredible. They kept underneath me just fine. I don't really know what to say. I'm just a happy boy. We got great partners, great owners, great team, incredible group. Just happy that we won this race finally.
As a kid, you dream about this. Does the reality match the dream?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, I thought I'd get a little more choked up. I'm choked up. I think I'm just so jacked up on adrenaline right now. I mean, that whole race was just go, go, go and try and get to the front. But, man, it was just easy. These guys gave me such an incredible car. I mean, all weekend we were, you know, pounding away, and these guys never give up. They were incredible on the pit stops. I mean, all my guys are just so awesome. So I'm so happy that we were able to do that. They made it an easy drive for me, but it is exactly what you would think of. You become a professional driver, win an IndyCar race. That's the way you want to do it, and this team deserves it more than anything.
You had to overcome a couple things, the pit stop issue, the issue on pit road, and then you got around Elio at the end of the race as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just happy the way, you know, we were able to do that. I mean, the car was great. You know, that's CFH Racing right there. They gave me the fastest car in the field, I think, and able to save fuel. So even when we got behind, it didn't matter. We were able to get right back by Elio. Just a great team effort. You know, everyone behind this just made it a solid drive. That's the way you want to win these races, and hopefully we can do more this year.
When you saw your girlfriend Ashley and your parents, what was your reaction?
They just look so happy. I mean, I think they're more happy than I am. You know, it's just taken so long. So I don't know what to say. I'm so happy for this group. Like I said, you don't want to win one. I mean, I want to win more races, and I hope this team can win more races. So let's go on to the next one and see what we got.
He's playing it cool, but I promise I saw a tear in his eyes earlier. Kelly?
Well, I was just telling Graham Rahal that he'll definitely want to go back and re-watch that race, and the guys in the booth, we followed you all the way as you closed that gap. Describe those last handful of laps and making all those moves.
Well, you know, I knew at the beginning or the end of my stint before the last, I got caught behind Hawksworth. I lost a few seconds. I knew I was going to have to push 110%, drive as hard as I could to make up the time. And I didn't realize it was like 15 or 20 seconds I had to make up. But, you know, it was hard to push, you know, that tough in the last few laps. But I had to drive every lap of that race 110%. And I'm really proud of the Steak and Shake guys. This team has come a long way. And I think we're proving that. And, you know, Honda did a great job today. The car felt very competitive. And just got to keep working hard, and eventually, I joke, but one of these days we'll win one of these things. It will come together.
It's been no secret, the frustrations that you guys have shared. So what can this do for this Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan team?
Well, I feel like, you know, all year we've been in a position that we could have, you know, we've lost opportunities, you know, to finish in this sort of position in the first 3 races. So to finally get it done here at Barber feels so good because, you know, this was a huge race for points. You know, we're coming into Indy now. We've got the Grand Prix. I feel like we'll be really strong there. But we could have either gone way forward or way back, depending on how it went. And I'm happy to say we went forward. But like I said, I cannot thank this team enough because we've had a couple tough years, but they fought very hard.
And watching you make this awesome move around the outside on power.
Yeah, he didn't give me much room there, right, you know, as we were coming through the kink. There's a huge bump here. I think I actually might have touched him because I went to the right. You can see I just touched him there because there's this jump and we both went over it and kind of tossed us out. But, you know, I got to say, you know, Will, Scott, Ryan, you know, everybody raced me clean. Elio, you know, I passed 3 of those guys on the outside, I think, and that's not easy to do around here, but they gave me the room to do it, and it was good racing.
His father, Bobby, no longer on the box, but we saw him cheering on. He went nuts every time Graham made a pass. Hard-earned second place. Kevin?
Kelly, Scott Dixon is 6 for 6 here, finishing on the podium. Not quite to the top step yet at the end. When Graham Rahal is coming, we know he's pitted later. Was it saving fuel or out of tires that helped him get past you?
Fuel was not a problem today. The Chevy actually was getting great fuel mileage. You know, we just couldn't hold on to the tires. In the first stint, we dropped like a rock, which really hurt us and actually kind of opened us up a little bit once we caught that yellow. We didn't siphon back too far, but you know, a lot of credit to the team today, Target, obviously Coca-Cola, to get the car sorted. You know, we burnt the rears off, and then right at the end there was just not enough for the left front. I couldn't turn the car. I was trying to stay ahead of Graham. I had an overtake, used the overtake half a lap shorter. I think we would have had second place, but all in all, huge congrats to Joseph. Hell of a talent, and good to see him take victory today.
You mentioned the tires going away makes it difficult for you as drivers. We love it as fans because that actually makes the racing better. You like that too?
I love it. I think if it's good for the fans, it's good for us. And if you can put on a good show, that's what it's all about. And I could tell, just from the chaos that was going on in the car, that it was going to be a fantastic race outside. And to see, some cars closing, 3-4 seconds a lap is what you want to see. And tire management is key today. A little bit of fuel mileage, but mostly tire management. So huge credit again to Joseph.
Good run. Scott Dixon finishes third, and he's gone in the last 2 races from 15th in the championship up to third.
Unbelievable performance from the 3-time champ. However, as Scott Dixon said, well done, Joseph Newgarden. Time to celebrate, and to have family so close. What a day, what a place to do it.
It's his first career win in a very entertaining race today here at the Honda Indy Grand Prix with Ryan Hunter-Reay. And didn't you tell me this morning if I finish in the top 10, it'll be like a win? You finished 5th. How'd you get it done?
Absolutely, man. It felt like a wounded duck out there, but we got it done. First of all, big congrats to Joseph Newgarden and Sarah Fisher-Hartman Racing. Well-deserved. That's been coming for a while. He's a good kid, and he's doing a great job. So it's good for the series. But yeah, as for us, we were just, we knew what we were going to do early with strategy. Saved a lot of fuel today. That worked out for us, but man, we don't have it right now. And that's about as good as we were going to get today. So had to hold off some cars there that didn't have a problem with fuel, like Graham, and Will was a little better than us on fuel. So it's 5th, like you said. 5th is good to come away with, but it's disappointing to be somewhat relieved with 5th place.
You had an interesting battle with Sage Karam, though, didn't you?
Yeah, that was interesting, wasn't it? I told him when I went over there, I said, hey, that was pretty slick, and come join the bench with me. Because there's apparently some interesting ones here. So how race control didn't call that, but they called me on it, it's beyond me. But I'm not even worried about it. We'll figure it out. We didn't need to make this car go faster. We need to run up front, and we've got a lot of work ahead of us to do that.
At the end of the day, though, it turns into his best finish of the season. He finishes 5th. Kev?
It was an adventuresome day, to say the least, for Will Power, from up front to a penalty to last, back to 4th. How did you get that done?
Yeah, it was yellows kind of fell out. I mean, they were falling our way for when we were on the other strategy, but I came out of the pits, and I know that going down pit lane, the team said, come on, go, you're racing the 14. And I didn't. I mean, I looked in the mirror as I came out. I saw no one, so I guess he's way over at the exit of the corner, and I'm way over on the left-hand side. So I thought, oh, he's already gone by, or he hasn't come yet. So I just turned like I never expected that bang. I haven't even seen the replay, but he got a penalty for that, and then we went back, and here we go. Let's see how. So yeah, I'm looking in the mirror now. Nope. Oh, yeah. Feel bad for Sato there. Didn't see him. So yeah, and then it was just had to do the best we could with what we had, and it was really happy to get back to 4th.
That's what I was going to next. Is what's the takeaway? Is maybe a race you could have won. However, the negative is that you could have finished 15th and really been way back in the points.
Yeah, that's right. So it was it turned a bad day into a good day, absolutely. We could have won, but it was a bit of a mixed-up day anyway. But, I'm really happy for the Verizon guys and all the sponsors that we finished up 4th.
All right, thank you. That's Will Power.
So Will helping explain what happened there with the incident coming out of the pits. Helio Castro-Neves, our pole sitter. We said it late in the race. He was headed to be the new points leader in the Verizon IndyCar Series leaving Alabama. He is not, because he ran out of fuel, finished 15th, and guess what? Juan Pablo Montoya leaves Birmingham with exactly the same points leaders. He came here 3 over Helio Castro-Neves. Scott Dixon jumps up to the top 3. Look at Joseph Newgarden, and that top 10 is compressed. It's tighter than it was coming to the 4th round. There's your points leader. Remember, we said right at the top of the show, it's important to get a good result here to carry momentum into the month of May. Just look at how busy it is. So much happening. And of course, the big one, the Indianapolis 500. Our friends at ABC will have the coverage there. We'll have Carb Day coverage for you, though, here on NBCSN, and also some Indy Lights coverage as well. It is massive. 2 guys who have drunk the milk at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. they decided that they wanted to talk about their race. Here's our special correspondent, Juan Pablo Montoya.
So we're here in Barber after a very long day for Helio Castroneves. So what happened, Helio? How much more fuel you needed to make to the end?
Well, Juan Pablo, you know, we were doing pretty good, and unfortunately just a glass of ethanol would be just perfect, and unfortunately that was what missing.
But was it that they didn't tell you had enough, or you just didn't save enough fuel?
Well, you know, the strategy guy is the owner of the team, so I guess I didn't save enough fuel.
Well, I don't know if I should be worried that that guy's going to take my job over there. Do you think he might do it?
Yeah, he did a great job, I tell you. Well done, man.
Oh, thank you.
I think he should be an interview instead of a driver now.
It was good because he had that, you know, stopping that like a good reporter, just stop the knife and twist it. Politically.
You do have that kind of feel,
Personality,
you know, personality.
yeah.
So I guess it would be
You
good.
do. All right. Let's really talk about your day. How frustrating was that? Because you had a car that could possibly win this race today.
Well, when you see the white flag from the pits, it's not a good sign. And certainly in our conversation right now towards the end, and we're just trying to understand a little bit more the communication. And it's a shame because I was kind of like holding Dixon. I knew he was in the same strategy. So I'm like, if he can't pushing, maybe we're going to push. So that was what's going on in my mind, but not understanding that we're not going to make it. So that was for me a little frustrating, but still second in the championship. This man is still P1 here, so let's see what we're going to have.
I don't know.
Well, we don't know either, but keep going.
All right, let's talk to him about his day. You had a frustrating day. I mean, broke 2 wings, and at the end, you felt like something was dragging the entire last few runs.
Yeah, it's hard because I was very patient at the beginning of the race. You know what I mean? I had a good start, and Colletti passed me, and I was, you know, running good. We got to Karam, and Jake was trying to pass him, and they buggled out of the last corner. I got inside of both of them, and Jake just turned left and ripped my wing off. But the weird thing is, I told the guy to hit my wing, and they said it looks fine. So we did the stop on the caution right after that. And we restarted, and 2 laps later, I'm coming back in with a broken wing. And then at the end, you know, the guy replaced the 18 car, I think. I don't know what's his name.
I didn't watch your race, but sorry. Okay. I was having a handful.
Whatever his name is, it's sad because they're used to 15-minute races. So I mean, the guy is running dead freaking last, and you get to him, you get a run on him, you get inside of him, and they just, again, turns left and breaks the front wing again. And I was like, I don't know, it's frustrating.
At that point, what else is going to happen in your day, right?
No, yeah.
Oh, then Helio made my day.
Yeah, I helped him out.
Your interview with Helio made your day.
Yeah, no, I tell you what, it's one of those things, if I knew a little bit more info, there is ways for you to save fuel. You can go behind the guy in the draft and let the guy go. So. And now I understand why Hunter A and Will were right behind, but not trying to pass me. So, but I was making my number. Unfortunately,
number wasn't good enough.
The number was 1 lap short, and that because I pit 2 laps before those guys. But in the end of the day, we got to think on the positive. Let's go to Indy Grand Prix and make it happen.
All right, Juan Pablo, Helio Castroneves have their own little sideshow going now. Kelly?
Carlos Munoz started 22nd and earlier, told me it's been a really bad weekend. So to come away with a sixth place finish has got to feel like a victory. How'd you get it done?
Yeah, for me it feels like a victory. You know, of course I always want to win for real, but after this start of the weekend, qualifying 22, and the start of the race, you tell me which position we finish. I wouldn't say because this track is so hard to pass, so hard to get the strategy right. But you know, 6th place was right. I think I have my degree of saving fuel from the university. You know, I'm kind of the rookie, still saving fuel, and I did a great job the whole race. My team, Andre Autosport, did a great job in the strategy and the pit stops and everything. But we have to work a lot because this is not our real result, our real pace. So we have to be in the front by our own.
All right, Carlos Munoz up to 11th in points.
Yeah, and improved every race from 22nd to 6th. But that's Munoz's story. It's Joseph Newgarden's day.